You know what? Fuck that video. We're done. We didn't even react to that. Nah, it pissed me off, son. That pissed me off. We're done. That ain't happening. Dude, that was absolutely bananas. I'm so not okay with that. So you know what? Point is, Reddit sucks. I'm sure this dude was in the right. I don't need to hear any more arguments. That was absolutely insane. We just basically lost everybody. Damn. Welcome to those of you guys that came back. Special Heartless, Scout Carry, Mon, Zalozy, Toby Tank, Tiger King, Jeremy Hughes Review. Yeah. And what a damn way for this stream to go. Jesus Christ, bro. Happy Thanksgiving. What up, Saint Hugo? How you doing, brother? Truly appreciate you. We'll give it a minute or two for everybody to filter back in. Yeah, my Divide Dot Radio Chip. Hi again. What's up, crew? Man, dude, yeah, YouTube didn't notify me. Well, to be fair, so YouTube only sends out notifications for one stream per day. So if something like this happens and your stream gets screwed and you have to restart, people won't get re-notified. People won't get re-notified. What up, Sleeping Nova? Like, this is absolutely, it's ridiculous. That was so damn dumb. I cannot believe that's twice that this has happened, dude. Twice in like the last 2 months. Jesus Christ. Alright, where are we at? We'll get back to it. We'll get back to it. It's Thanksgiving. It's good. It's Thanksgiving. Let me, real quick, let me lock down the original stream so people don't try and go to that thinking they missed shit. Alright, let's just full on delete it. Delete forever. Yeah, delete. There we go. Don't even need that as part of the history. Okay. Alright, there we go. What up, Ginty Maxi? Red mods are subhuman too. I got red, just don't have to bother with mods. Alrighty. Yeah, we're moving on for the Reddit shit. That pissed me off. Alrighty. Nobody can afford games anymore. Yeah, that's kind of the problem. But it goes much deeper than that. Let's see what Legendary Drop got to say, because I wonder if he's actually going to get to the crux of the issue. He usually does. He's usually pretty good about that. But it's more than just like games costing $70 is a problem.
Guys, we're in some serious trouble. Gaming has been getting more expensive by the year, but right now it's about to get more expensive by the day. It already has. The same components that I have in my PC right now cost twice as much as they did just 2 years ago.
Not only just 2 years ago. Like, so ABF hit me up. ABF, because he and I are building my PC here in a couple days, right? In a week at most or whatever. And he hit me up while he was in Cairo, mind you. He was messaging me this from Egypt. And he goes, man, it's a good thing we did your PC build when we can. I was like, why? Did something happen? He's like, yeah, all the prices of everything just shot up due to XYZ reason, whatever it is, I'm not sure. So, yeah, it's gone up just within the last week and a half. Yo, shout out Tiger Rex King. Truly appreciate the 2 bangers, and happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to you as well.
RAM just rose by 200% in just the last 2 months. And I know some people are going to look at this and say, oh, well, this is a PC problem. No, all these different components, they're used in just about everything. Handhelds, consoles, whatever else. Everything is going to get dragged up with all of this. What's happening right now is that AI is taking over the world. Who would have?
Yeah, that's what it was. All the power and whatnot, and all the processors and RAM and stuff that they need to buy to power these massive AI data centers is driving up the price. That was the reason that ABF gave me.
Did. And these data centers are doing everything they can to be able to keep up with this AI gold rush because everybody wants a piece of that money, and that's pushed these guys to raid the consumer market for products, buying up everything off the shelves before we even have a chance to get our hands on it, causing a lot of scarcity and making prices skyrocket with no end in sight. The part that really bothers me with all of this is just how obvious this play is. These guys are just getting way too sloppy for me. It's starting to aggravate me at this point. Like, if you're going to be a scammer, you got to try to hide it a little bit. But these guys don't even want to bother hiding it anymore. They're not trying to do anything to fix any.
He's not wrong, though. He's not wrong. Like, as somebody who's done activities of the more illicit legality, like, if you're gonna do it right. Act like you know what you're doing. Just do it with the utmost confidence. Look, man, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. But, like, game recognized game, right? I've always told people, dude, if you are going to do shit wrong, then like at least do it the right way of doing it wrong. You've got to make sure, if you're gonna be doing illegal shit, do it with confidence. If you're gonna be scamming people, scam them with confidence. Like, ain't nobody falling for a scam from some soy boy that's like the reason the Nigerian prince shit works so well is because these motherfuckers just like walk in and they scam these old people like they know what's up. Like they're an actual Nigerian prince. They speak with regality even amongst all the misspellings.
These issues. They're not scrambling to fix any of these supply issues. Instead, well, they're milking it. They're keeping their production tight, they're raising the prices, and they're using AI as the best excuse possible for them to just continue to take advantage of regular people, to squeeze you harder than they ever have before. And they're doing it all with governments backing them. They're going to drag this out as long as they possibly can, because every single month that they keep these prices higher, they're just going to continue to rake in record profits. But today,
and they're not really scamming us per se. Like, they're not worried about just the average individual who's building a PC or buying a PS5 or whatever. We are not the main market, right? The governments and the tech corporations that are buying up all of this necessary products to fund their AI extravaganzas, those are the people buying with the big bucks, buying in bulk. The vast majority of the money is being paid by them. We're just getting the shit into the deal for it.
What I want to do is I want to talk about those insanely high prices and who's causing them. I want to talk about how I think the games industry is using this moment to be able to manipulate us, and how I think this entire thing might backfire on them in the most glorious of ways. This video is sponsored by
All right, you guys know the drill. We let sponsor ads play out because we're stealing some content.
And right now they are running their biggest sale of the year. From now until the end of their campaign, you can get up to 46% off site-wide using my code LEGENDARY at checkout. 1 to 2 metal posters for 37% off, 3 to 4 for 43, 5 or more at 46. The full breakdown is going to be in the pinned comment and on the on-screen banners, but this is the best deal that you're going to see all year. Displate makes high-quality metal posters that mount magnetically, no tools, no frames, and no wall damage. You just stick a magnet to the wall, snap the poster on. It only takes seconds, and
God damn, I miss being a Magic the Gathering fan. These look so clean, dude. Man, if it were 7 years ago, I would have these on my wall, but I cannot in good conscience purchase anything that is Magic the Gathering oriented.
These guys have over 1 million designs to be able to choose from. Games, anime, movies, fantasy, tech, you name it. And they're still running their officially licensed Path of Exile 2 collection. I definitely checked that out. I got a full set that was sent over to me, and every single one of these looks incredible in person. Now, if you're looking for something a little bit more personal, check out their custom displays. You can upload your own images, photos, arts, memes, whatever you want, maybe a family portrait, and turn it into a gift-worthy metal print just in time for the holidays. Use code LEGENDARY at checkout, hit the link in the description, and take advantage of this year's biggest sale. We have talked a lot about prices on this channel, and we are going to continue to talk about prices on this channel, because if there is one thing that I actually want to bring to this space, it is awareness. Most people feel helpless when they see these prices spike. They feel like they're being pushed out of their own hobby, like decisions are being made for them by people who don't even care about games in the first place. But the more that you guys understand what's happening, the easier it is to see the pattern. And guys,
yeah, $70. $70 for fucking Battlefield 7, at least, not including any microtransactions, deluxe editions, or whatnot. And you know what? People said, fuck it, we ain't buying it. Look at them concurrent player counts. They've decided, no, it's not good. We're not going to pay money for shitty products anymore. Because the people making these products, yeah, by all means, objectively speaking, if I was going to take my own personal bias out of this and just speak, logistically from an outside perspective, if the quality goes up, price should also go up. But the quality has not gone up. I don't give a fuck how good the graphics are. That is not necessarily indicative of the quality going up. Because if the gameplay is generic and boring, if the story is generic and boring, if you've got all these censorship activities being enacted, those are drops in quality. So, like, I don't, man, reason Ball Pit is doing amazing is because it's a fun game. It looks like something you'd play on the Genesis.
Navigating what's coming next is going to get very hard, very fast. After the reveal of the Steam Machine, the first thing I saw was everyone arguing about the price. A lot of people were convinced that it needed to be $500 or $700 at max,
retarded.
and that Valve should
I said from the jump the Steam Machine going to be a thou wow, as it should be.
Subsidize it to bring in more users. A whole different topic for another video, because Steam does not need a loss leader to get more people through the door. But I took the time to actually dig into the potential hardware costs and ended up chiming in on Twitter saying that Valve isn't posting the price because they're hoping that things change. The AI bubble has pushed RAM to obscene levels, almost 200% this year. People are saying it should be $500. That's the price of RAM alone. Now, this is a bit hyperbolic. Sure, I was using the highest end hardware prices, but the more that I researched this trend, the darker the picture became, not just for Valve's console, but just for gaming as a whole. Right now, we're seeing hardware prices skyrocket across the board. All of it's tracing back to rapid data center expansion, a tidal wave of investment that's been poured into AI. According to Stanford, the U.S. has almost already spent
Why would you spend 1K on a Steam machine instead of getting a PC? Console's supposed to be cheaper than PC because it's not a console. It is a PC. It is a PC cosplaying as a console. It is effectively an entry-level PC that does not come with all the maintenance, upkeep, and understanding for people that are unfamiliar with PC. So you're not buying. The Steam machine isn't a console. It is a PC.
$10 billion into private investments just in 2024. Global spending in generative AI is already up 600% between 2022 and 2024. And in 2025, that number is estimated to hit $1.5 trillion. With that kind of money flying around, AI firms are expanding their data centers and buying up existing hardware at a pace that consumers simply cannot compete with. That demand alone is enough to be able to drive these prices through the roof, and that's before you even factor in scarcity. I feel like I'm losing my mind. How many people have been ignoring this? We have seen companies and even the media try to blame these prices.
Well, it's not that people have been ignoring it. Is that what can we do about it? Like, in all reality, what can be done about it? You can acknowledge a problem without having a solution to said problem. Like, I mean, the idea that people are ignoring it, I feel like a lot of people have talked about this. I've talked about it for ages. There's a reason why I'm only just now finally upgrading my PC, and it's because over the last couple of years, just haven't been able to afford to do so. It is insane. I finally can, and even so, even then I can't go high end. I'm going with a medium build PC because, you know, for my job to do this, I need to upgrade my PC. My PC's 10 years old. It is on its last fucking legs. So yeah, I just can't continue to do this if I don't do the upgrade. Not everybody's in that position. There are people that are still unable to upgrade. But when you've got these corporations that are in control of setting the prices, which to be fair, they're private companies, they can do what they want, but by the same token, let's not pretend they're doing it for any moral reason. They're doing it because they know they can get these big tech companies and these governments to pay obscene prices because they have the money to do so.
Hikes on tariffs. They've been doing it all year. We've covered it on this channel, but this isn't about trade policy. This is an increase. It's driven by raw...
Thronkill, I agree with Michael Doberman. However, well, the question would be, how old is your son? The question would be, how old is your son, and what is he going to be using it for? Because if he's just going to be using it for gaming, then by all means, just go with the Steam machine, depending on the pricing and whatnot. But if he's into more than just gaming, wants to get into production, video editing, music, just anything that has more creative aspects to it than just gaming, then go with the PC. He's 11. That's right in that age range where it could go either way. Because, like again, if his interests in line with more than just gaming, I would say go with the PC instead of the Steam machine, just because that is the way of the world. It's good to know actual computer skills, and having a PC could teach you those skills. But if it's just for gaming and whatnot, then, I mean, the Steam machine likely is the better option. I don't know about the better option, the more convenient option.
Demand for components, and everyone is just letting these hardware companies and these software companies spin whatever narrative they want, whatever narrative benefits them, with almost no pushback at all. How has nobody questioned this? These hardware companies are making record money off of the AI boom. They're selling hardware by the truckloads to these data center giants. They're soaking up billions of dollars in new investment, and they're still not expanding production for consumers. Instead, they're keeping their supply tight. They're raising prices. They're pouring all that new money into high bandwidth memory for AI. They could ease the pressure on the consumer market if they wanted to, but why would they do that when scarcity is letting them charge more? So squeeze the normal people.
Artificial scarcity. By the way, it's not scarcity, it's artificial scarcity.
While feeding the AI expansion that's only going to just make all of this so much worse. Gizmodo only recently picked up on this issue with an article titled "We're So Screwed," written by Kyle Barr, where Barr wrote, We have been reporting about the spiking cost of RAM prices since October. Essentially, AI data centers have such a demand for memory that the prices of SSDs, DRAM, and HDDs are all ballooning in price. This is most keenly felt in the discrete PC RAM market. Corsair, one of the most popular brands for fast gaming-ready RAM sticks, told Gizmodo over email our DRAM prices have increased in response to the severe supply shortage we're seeing across the industry. And it just keeps getting worse. A pack of 64GB DDR5 RAM from memory brand Crucial spiked from $150 to more than $400 in just 2 months, as evidence.
I wonder if that's about what I played. Hold on, let's find out what I paid just 3 weeks ago for my RAM. Hold on, this would be pretty damn interesting. So let's see. We got let me just go to Amazon. Let me go to my orders. All right, orders. Obviously, I'm not going to share my screen because I need y'all seeing my address information and whatnot. All right, let's see. Where's my RAM? All right, let's see. I paid, yeah, $389.99. $389.99. Oh, no, sorry. No, that was for my mini PC. That was for my traveling PC. Hold on. Here we go. Yeah. I paid... Oh, it's not even showing on sale anymore. The RAM stick that I got isn't even showing on sale anymore. Hold on, let's see. And I purchased it on October 26th. I purchased this on October 26th, and it's not even showing sale anymore. See all buying options. $615 is the cheapest one. $620 if I want prime delivery. $702 free delivery between December 11th and 17th. $702. Yeah, now mind you, I didn't pay that for this. I didn't. I purchased this in October. I didn't pay no $600 fucking dollars for it. That is the difference that a month can make.
By Amazon's price tracking site, Camel.
64 GB.
Other low-end RAM sticks may see less of a bump, but users will inevitably find that the more RAM they want, the more it's going to cost. 4 sticks of 16GB DDR5 RAM from Corsair now sells for an astronomical $688. The same sticks in white demand $948, and they're not even the priciest RAM available. Guys, I want you to know that this is nothing like the crypto boom that we saw just a few years ago, where GPU prices were driven by a hype cycle that eventually died. AI is far more of a tangible technology. It is going to keep expanding, it's going to keep improving, and it's going to keep getting massive support from governments and corporations worldwide. Yes, there is a bubble forming, something similar to the dot-com era, where only a few players are actually going to end up owning the market. But even when that burst happens, the winners are just going to buy up the losers' data centers, and they're just going to continue to grow. Even if the expansion slows, that's still not going to fix anything for us. Keep in mind, after the crypto crash, GPU prices never really went back to normal. So hardware prices might come down eventually, sure, but they're never going to go back to what we used to pay. And this is not something that's just going to be limited to memory or GPUs. It's going to stretch across every piece of computer hardware, gaming PCs, handhelds, consoles, phones, everything. It makes getting into the hobby, upgrading your setup, or even just replacing something that breaks insanely expensive for everyday people. And I think that's
I mean, this might answer your question, whoever was asking about buying their child a PC.
exactly what these companies want right now. They want to squeeze customers harder than they ever have while raking in all of this investment and government backing, all to feed these.
Well, no. So Divide.World says people should have learned from the supply chain panics, the pandemic era. That's different. Like, the supply chain panics weren't artificial, or at least not to my knowledge. There was disruptions in the supply chain because of the pandemic. You're correct. This is artificial scarcity. The scarcity, at least, again, based on everything I know, isn't real. It's just being advertised as if it's real to drive the price up, to get these big tech companies that need all this RAM and all these materials for their data centers to pay more.
Business-to-business sales, while the rest of us are going to deal with the fallout. At this rate, the hardware market is going to become completely inaccessible for most people. I've seen people talk about how the Steam machine needed to be $500 or maybe $700 at most, and these guys do not know how
Exactly,
fast these
person.
prices are moving right now. The costs have ballooned so much that I could easily see every single major console that's coming in the next couple of years costing over $1,000 when they get revealed.
And if that's the case, if that's going to be the case, if every console is going to be over $1,000, may as well get a PC anyway. Future-proof yourself. Dude, again, the PC I'm rolling with right now is a decade old. I was still able to do the vast majority of everything I need to do. And to be fair, I am still able to do the vast majority of everything I need to do. It's just that there's, time consumption when it comes to, like, rendering videos. Yeah, some modern games and whatnot I'm not able to play. Technically, I could probably get away with just upgrading my graphics card. But I figure, you know what? Let's just go a whole hog to future-proof.
Now, I know some people are going to say, well, that's not going to work. Nobody's going to buy hardware at these prices. And honestly, I think that's exactly what some of these companies are counting on. Nearly every major publisher in the gaming industry has gone all in on AI. EA just announced their partnership with Stability AI. Ubisoft has come back from their little media silence with some new AI deals and a push for AI teammates to replace making actual friends, which is incredibly bleak. But the clearest example here is Microsoft. They have poured billions of dollars into OpenAI and Anthropic, and they've committed another $80 billion to AI-enabled data centers. They are directly feeding into the same expansion that is driving hardware costs through the roof.
And why wouldn't they? For them, it's good for business. Absolutely, it makes sense from a business standpoint to feed into that. It just, it's bullshit for us, the average everyday consumer that is not part of some large tech company or some large government with literally unlimited amounts of money to spend.
The same expansion that they blamed on tariffs. It is a mutually beneficial relationship for them, not for us. Guys, this is the oldest trick in the corporate playbook. Create a problem and then sell the solution. If people can't afford gaming hardware anymore, well, that becomes the perfect opening to be able to push cloud gaming, where you don't need to have a console or a PC, just a screen and a subscription. I talked about this in my video, This is the Last Warning, where I argued that Microsoft was pushing prices higher on purpose to be able to funnel players into cloud services where they already have been testing ads inside of their games. LD, you're crazy to think that. You're crazy to think that this is all connected. Guys, I do not think you understand how big the gaming industry actually is, okay? The U.S.
I don't know how people can not understand how big the gaming industry is. Again, when it comes to entertainment industries, and entertainment is the largest cultural export in America. But let's leave America out of this for a moment. Entertainment in general, the video game industry is the largest legal entertainment industry in the world. And I know I say that a lot, and I say that a lot to really drive it into people's heads. Like, yes, we're dealing with the largest entertainment industry in the world. It financially dwarfs every single other industry combined. It dwarfs Hollywood. It dwarfs comics. It dwarfs music. It dwarfs books. Like, insert entertainment medium here. Gaming demolishes all of them combined. Legally. Shout out, Zax. Everything's given to you as well.
Entertainment sector is the largest in the world, and gaming alone is...
That's why I said legal entertainment industry, just G, because the porn industry, it's very difficult to get actual figures on how much they make due to so much of what they do being limited in their legality.
3 times. It makes 3 times as much as film and music combined. It's still young, it's still easy to manipulate, and there is a lot of money on the table for anybody that can wedge themselves in that ecosystem, especially if they can figure out how to force ads into whatever they want, whether we like it or not. So when I see this, I do not see a bunch of different trends happening all over the place. I see one big pattern. And I'm not saying that, oh, it's gaming that's helping to push this entire AI situation. No, it just so happens.
No, it's the other way around. So, like, I wouldn't say the other way around, but one is feeling the repercussions of the other. With AI being the future, with everybody investing in AI, whether it be multiple world governments, multiple first world governments, multiple of these tech corporations and whatnot, the gaming industry is just going along with the tech trend, because at the end of the day, gaming is part of the tech industry. So yeah, why wouldn't you follow the trend from a practical money-making standpoint?
That, well, it's just following in the perfect spot for these companies to be able to take advantage of it. And of course, they're going to be taking advantage of it. That's exactly what they're doing right now. It's where coincidence and opportunity have collided for these guys. And it just so happens that your money, your hobby, and your enjoyment are caught in the middle of it. Ironically, this is happening at the worst possible time for us, because the console wars are effectively dead. Exclusivity is largely gone at this point outside of
Unless you're
Nintendo.
Nintendo.
And
There you go.
these guys don't care about pushing their games to be able to make profit. They're trying to profit off of their services and off of their hardware now. All the stars are aligning in the wrong way for us at this moment. There is so much money hatting going on in AI right now. It's just absolutely crazy. Every single one of these companies has their hand in each other's pockets. If you see where some of this money goes, you see one company gives it to another, that company gives it to another, and then it goes straight back to the source. They're just circling all this wealth while squeezing us as hard as they possibly can, trying to make as much money off of us as they possibly can and force us into poverty is what it feels like. Probably actually exactly what, I don't want to talk about that right now. I mean, NVIDIA and Microsoft are the biggest perpetrators here, and both of these guys have cloud gaming services. They have no problem with hardware prices spiking and people not being able to get into higher end hardware. That sounds great to these guys. And they're going to continue to expand. They're going to continue to invest. And they're doing that off of the back of investments that they're getting from private and public investors and also from the government.
And that's the big one, the government. If you can get the government to invest in you, little guy like us don't matter. They will ruin the economy. They will print money like it's going out of style to further these investments. It absolutely destroys everything that we as just a regular individual have access to. But it doesn't matter because they likely don't want us to have access to it anyway.
It's insane. These guys effectively have price control over the hardware industry because, well, they can just order them out of stock. Well, right now this is limited to higher end hardware. It's going to trickle down to lower end hardware. I've seen some people talk about, well, I'll just buy DDR4, it's cheaper. You're not the only one thinking that. And because this scarcity is largely inauthentic and inorganic.
Finally, okay, it took him almost 13 minutes, but he actually acknowledged that it is artificial scarcity. Because again, I've been trying to harp on this point. It is artificial scarcity.
And is being controlled, well, that means that they're just going to affect those markets regardless. And the same thing goes for console markets as well. They can use the exact same excuse. Now, well, because the data center expansion, sorry, the GPUs or the RAM or whatever else is too expensive for this console. It's going to have to be more expensive. They're going to push it there too. And the reason why is because these guys do not need hardware to be able to make money off you anymore. It's not necessary for them. They can farm the people who can afford it, and then they can push those who can't into subscription services and cloud services where they can feed you.
Where you don't own anything. Remind you, where you don't own anything. Because that's the end goal. Divina earlier said this isn't a coincidence. Correct. They want to force you into a position to where you are paying for a license, you are renting, you will own nothing, you will eat the bugs, you will be happy.
Ads, or you pay a monthly sub.
Exactly, Lessus.
Doesn't that just sound lovely? Now, I'm sure it sounds great to these guys. I'm sure they're all in on this idea. And if I was in one of those rooms, it would probably sound pretty good to me. But this entire thing is incredibly risky for them to do. Not because anybody's actually going to come in and try to interrupt it. That's not going to happen, at least not for a while. But they're under the assumption that customers are going to continue to chase them wherever they go. We're chasing the highest end hardware, the highest end games, but that's not necessarily what's been happening. See, the question they need to be asking themselves is what happens when players go in a different direction entirely? Because that's exactly what's happening right now. Not to interrupt the flow of this video, but man, it really sucks that we even have to be talking about any of this. We should be celebrating what this industry is capable of, especially with the Game Awards right around the corner.
Why? From the AAA scene, I don't see anything to celebrate. Yeah, we've got some some bangers now and then, but by and large, the only thing I see that we should be celebrating is the indie scene.
I've been eyeing a second playthrough of Expedition 33, and every time I think about that game, how confidently it ignored all of the noise, how it cuts through everything,
right, that's the exception,
all of
not
this
the
industry's
rule.
nonsense. It reminds me of how things could be, how things should be, and it also reminds me of how disgusting these executives are who want to drag this hobby into the mud for profit. I genuinely believe that these major hardware and software companies think raising the price floor is going to guarantee them victory. If people can't afford new hardware, they're just going to default to cloud or whatever subscription service pipeline that they want to shove us into. And once players are trapped in those ecosystems, well, then these companies have full control. They can raise.
Yeah, there is no downside for them. You'd be like, oh, well, subscription service doesn't make as much money. Doesn't matter. They've got all the money in the world. They don't need to make more money. They need to control you. Dude, the ultimate currency is somebody's time and the power you have over them. Yeah, they'll take a little bit of a loss on making people switch to a subscription service if it means for the next 3 generations, you and your family and the way you've been raised and the way you're conditioned to think about the world is via subscription services. And it might pay off in the long run for them financially. They might be playing the financial long game, but even if they're not, that power of control is more valuable.
The prices, they can tier their access, they can lock features behind a monthly fee, they can do whatever they want. They can even slide ads in with almost no friction. That is the future that these AAA publishers want. Now, the problem for them is that I don't think this plan is actually going to work in the real world. It's built on the assumption that everybody needs the highest end experience, that we are all desperate for cutting edge AAA titles, and
I'm not like, dude, I don't care about the vast majority of how high-end XYZ thing runs. That's why I went with a medium build PC for the one that I'm building soon. I don't need everything to just be like perfect. Video games at the end of the day are meant to be fun. And like all the highest graphics and whatnot in the world ain't necessarily gonna make it any more fun. Does it drop frames? Does it stutter? No? Well then I'm good, son.
Follow the industry wherever it tries to push us, but that ignores the biggest risk in their entire strategy, one that is already happening right now. What if people don't buy in? What if players stop chasing high end entirely? What if they split into a different direction, a shift that ends up starving AAA while fueling the rise of studios who can thrive without expensive hardware? Now, I'm going to give you guys 2 business terms, demand destruction and market bifurcation. Demand destruction is when prices stay so high for so long that people just stop buying a product altogether. Market bifurcation is when a market splits into 2 groups that behave completely differently. The haves and have-nots in this case, if you will. And we're seeing both of these happen in the gaming industry right now, even if the shift has been relatively slow. Just take a look at Steam's latest hardware survey. NVIDIA's brand new 50 series GPUs, they're not even in the top 10. They're not even in the top 15. The 5070 sits at number 16. The 5060 is 22nd. And all their other high-end cards, they might as well not even exist at all. The top 5 are dominated by lower-end 30 and 40 series cards, and the GTX 1650, a 6-year-old GPU, is still holding strong. People are not upgrading.
Good. They don't need to. Like, again, people like me need to. My PC is 10 years old. Like, the graphics card that I used stopped getting updates about 2 years ago. At this point, any game or any product that uses the graphics card that requires something to be of a certain spec, even if my PC could hypothetically handle it, if the actual GPU itself doesn't have updates pushed to it anymore, then I'm shit out of luck. That's one of the main reasons I'm upgrading. But like, by and large, you got a 6-year-old graphics card, odds are it's still getting updates. You're fine.
And when they do, they're choosing the cheapest, most sensible option they can, either because of the cost or because they don't see any reason to chase higher-end hardware anymore. I think that this industry has completely misread this. I think that they're looking at these numbers and assuming that people want the highest-end hardware but simply can't afford it. But that doesn't really track with reality. The Switch 2 broke U.S. console sales records by selling over 2.4 million units in only 3 months. And nobody believes that that's cutting-edge hardware. People bought it because they wanted the games, not the specs.
Correct.
And beyond that,
these companies keep making this argument, and a lot of the folks on SNH don't seem to realize that. And don't get me wrong, I love my homies over there at SNH. However, I think that because they're so intrinsically involved in the gaming scene, that oftentimes they forget about the casuals. And let's be real, you can't have the largest entertainment industry in the world, financially speaking, if it's only catering to the niche of the hardcore. The normies have to be involved. Normies don't care about the most high-end specs. They just want to play the fucking thing because it's a hobby.
operating under the idea that players want to upgrade just to be able to play the latest AAA releases. But why would anybody want to do that anymore? Why would we want to spend thousands of dollars on a new rig or a console when these games come out broken day one? Borderlands 4 is still a performance nightmare with the developers issuing apology after apology. Monster Hunter Wilds tanked all of its momentum and its reputation because it couldn't run properly either. These are two of the biggest AAA releases this year, and both of them are defined by the same problems. There has been a sharp decline in sales across the board for AAA because people just aren't impressed anymore.
Well, to be fair, you say remember buying a brand new Nintendo 64 for $200. Happy times. Well, let's do some adjustment for inflation. So, inflation calculator. Let's see. You got, what did you use, 96? When did it come out, 96 or 94? First of all, when did the N64 come out? I don't remember if it was 96 or 94. Oh, yeah. So it's not 96. So, inflation calculator. Let's do January of 96 to September 25. $200. That's about $420 a day. So, like, I get what you're saying. And even so, consoles were lower back then comparatively to today. But you still gotta adjust for inflation.
And that's the part that these companies don't really seem to understand, is that when your games don't justify the hardware stops selling. When the hardware stops selling, the high-end market freezes, and AAA is going to be the first thing to suffocate. What I think is happening right now, and it's only going to get worse for the AAA industry, is that with these rising hardware prices,
shout out Golden Apples, we're up 5 bangers. I'm going to keep using my rig, a 7900 XT and a 7800 X3D for years to come. Gonna ride that bike till the wheels fall off. Shout out. That is exactly what you should do. Exactly what you should do. Could not agree more. Thank you for the 5
especially if they
bangers.
bleed into the next generation of consoles, it's going to effectively put a stop to high-end gaming entirely. They are building a price wall that people cannot climb. And in doing so, they're going to destroy their own demand. Players do not trust AAA enough to be able to justify a $70 game, let alone a $1,000 console or a $4,000 PC upgrade. And if they're not buying the hardware or the games, well, why would we?
Bro, a $4,000 PC upgrade is insane. I shivered at my PC upgrade being $2,000. Now, granted, $2,400, but like, as y'all know, I splurged on a really nice case. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do this one thing for me. But by and large, like, yeah, it like $2,000, $2,400. But again, I could have done it for about $2,000 if not for the case. And even then, I was like, God, this feels dirty. It feels so dirty. People do 4K? Fuck that.
Be interested in the services that are tied to them. What is the point of cloud gaming or subscriptions if the games on those services aren't worth our time? All that I think is actually going to happen is that this market is going to split. They're going to accidentally fuel the rise of AAA even further, which honestly is this industry in its purest form. Smaller teams, lower budgets, higher creativity, more original ideas, and no need to chase higher-end hardware. These games are targeting mid-range or even older
That's
systems
true. It's for
by
work.
design.
It's all tax
And
write-off.
when you look at what people are actually playing this year, Expedition 33, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, Escape from Duck-Off, Mega Bonk, Ball Pit, even Stellar Blade and Arc Raiders don't need a 5090 to run well. People can get everything they want without buying any of this high-end hardware at all. The funny thing is, when you zoom out on all this, there really is only two futures that are ahead of us right now. One is the one that the corporations want, and the one is the one, well, players are actually moving towards right now. The corporate one is pretty obvious. Expensive hardware that nobody can buy. Cloud gaming is the affordable alternative. Subscriptions stacked on top of subscriptions. Ads baked straight into the experience. A world where every part of gaming is metered, tracked, monetized, and controlled. That is the endpoint that these guys have been building towards for years. Because in that future, they own everything. We own nothing. But there's been another future that's been...
In that future? What do you mean in that future? That is the present. That's where we're currently at.
Been forming underneath their feet this entire time. And it's one that these guys just haven't planned for. It's a future built by AA studios and mid-tier teams that have been making incredible games that run on any hardware that people actually own. A future where the most popular game doesn't require a $4,000 rig or a $1,000 console. A future...
My 10-year out-of-date PC is playing Sonic Crossworlds Racing just fine, and I'm loving every minute of it. I'm playing, dude, when it comes to indies, I've never ran across an indie game I can't play. Not one time. And when it comes to the very few, like, I wouldn't call Sonic Racing Crossworlds a AAA game. I'd say it's more of a AA game, but even so, the point is, the games I want to play that are from these big famous studios aren't these massive, PC juggernauts anyway.
Where creativity outperforms
What up,
fidelity,
Brad
where
Monkey?
studios that are willing to take a risk end up defining the industry more than the ones that are burning $500 million on another forgettable game. And I really think that this entire thing should terrify these AAA publishers. They should not be trying to lean into it. If these players stop upgrading, if they stop buying into high end, then AAA is the one that becomes an endangered species. The budgets stop making sense. The audiences shrink.
Fuck AAA.
And the only people that are going to be left thriving are the teams that never needed cutting edge hardware to begin with. Because at the end of the day, we're the ones that decide where this industry goes. And if the industry starts building a future that we don't want, well, we simply just walk away. I have a strong feeling that outside of Grand Theft Auto 6,
Make sure you join the
if it actually
Discord, Fried
releases,
Monkey.
next year is probably going to play out just the same as this year. There's just not going to be a lot of winners in AAA. I mean, more than half of the nominees for Game of the Year this year were all independent or indie studios. And that's not just, these are just for the awards. No, these are also some of the most beloved games by players and also some of the highest selling games that we've seen all year. And that's going to leave these guys with not a lot of other options. I know some people are probably going to say, then they'll just start making AA games themselves. They'll just stuff these services with AA and they'll stuff them with indie games, but that really doesn't make a lot of sense. What is the point of your subscription service or your cloud service if, one, I have the hardware, so I can play those games regardless anyway, and two, those games are cheap to begin with. Why would I want to pay $30 a month plus to be able to play games that I could buy for $15 to $5 in some cases? Doesn't make any sense. I mean, Game Pass, I know right now is about $30. I can guarantee you it's probably going to climb to $35 or even $45 next year.
I was to say 45. I would not be surprised that by the end of 2026, Game Pass is $45. Mark my words.
Who knows how that's going to go. And that's more than most people spend on video games in a month. It just doesn't make any sense. Nobody needs it. I don't need it. I can tell you that right now. This is an incredibly dangerous path for the games industry to be following right now. And it's also something that they really shouldn't be supporting. I just don't see a lot of movement in hardware. And helping to push those prices even higher, you're going to starve yourself. Because I just don't see a lot of people that are chasing some of these new releases. Sure, we've seen some movement, we've seen some buzz, but I don't know if you guys have noticed this. With a lot of these AAA games, the minute that they come out, the hype around them dies like that. You just stop.
What is the most memorable actual AAA game from 2025? Anyone in chat right now, what is a AAA game from 2025 that is held strong? Can't say Helldivers, that's AA. Can't say Expedition 33, that's ending. That's indie. Maybe Battlefield 7? Or Battlefield 6, I mean. But even Battlefield 6, like, I know people are still playing it, but is anyone really still talking about it? Battlefield 6 might be the best. No, Stellar Blade's AA. Stellar Blade not even AAA. Stellar Blade is AA. Also, that was last year. That's not 2025. That was 2024. Doom the Dark Ages flopped on release. Doom the Dark Ages is not a valid answer. That flopped on release. Digimon Storytime Stranger? I don't know if that's AAA or not. Let's see. Is Digimon Storytime Stranger AAA? It's not considered a AAA game in the traditional sense. It's got the quality of a AAA game, but it's not a AAA game in the traditional sense. AAA, you have to take into account like the budget and stuff, how much it costs to make. And Doom wasn't playable for 2 months after wait. I'm not saying Doom isn't fun, but it flopped. It's not being talked about. Marvel Rivals isn't AAA either, I don't think. Again, I'll check, but I don't think Marvel Rivals is AAA. Okay, Marvel Rivals is AAA. However, let's see what the player counts are like. Marvel Rivals current player count. So let's look at the charts. Let's see. Max. Nah, Marvel. Dude. It peaked in January of this year, which, by the way, Marvel Rivals actually came out last year, so even then it doesn't count, because I said in 2025. But Marvel Rivals peaked in January. Look at it now. 100,000 players concurrent. Almost 650,000 players concurrent. Also, your app, it's free. I mean, I'm gonna be real, guys. There is not a AAA game from 2025. Even if I were to grant you Marvel Rivals, that's 2024, there is not a AAA game from 2025 that's actually doing numbers. Again, maybe Battlefield 6. Maybe Battlefield 6.
I'm hearing about them entirely. Battlefield 6, I think, is probably the only one that I could point to this year that is actually kind of...
Bingo, bango, bongo. Is your boy not always right, or is your boy not always right? Y'all can thank me later. I'm here for you.
survived for the most part, but Monster Hunter Wilds, that game just absolutely tanked after its first month. They haven't been able to sell. I don't even know if they've even sold another 1 million copies past the first 10 that they sold in that 1 month. That is crazy. That is not good, man. That is not good. And when we're starting to see equipment dive off of a cliff like this, you're going to have to come down to meet those players. And if you're not willing to do that, you're in a lot of trouble. I can tell you that right now. I'm curious to know what hardware you guys use.
I got you, Jeremiah.
I want to know what people are actually using, because I can see a Steam survey, and I talk to people in our community Discord. If you guys don't engage in our community Discord, you should. It's a group of absolutely fantastic people, but most people there are on lower-end hardware. A lot of people that I know outside of my...
I own Monster Hunter Wilds. Oh, wait, no. Do I have Monster Hunter Wilds, or do I have Monster Hunter World? Hold on. Point is, I haven't played it yet. Let's see. Monster... No, I have Monster Hunter Rise. I have Monster Hunter Rise.
Myself, the only reason why I have a rig as great as I have, or as expensive as I have, is because of all the work I do with editing and recording and all that stuff. Outside of that, I wouldn't use it.
And that's the main reason I'm upgrading. If my PC was just used for games, I wouldn't be upgrading even with the weak ass graphics card I have. It's all the back-end stuff. It's rendering the videos, it's the editing, it's shit like that. That's why I'm upgrading. If I was just a gamer, if I didn't do YouTube, no, that I was just a gamer, worked regular ass job and whatnot, I would not be upgrading right now.
I wouldn't get it. Are you kidding me? I'd be playing on something else entirely. I'd probably still be playing on the 2080 or 3080 that I have behind me. But yeah, I'm really interested to see where all this stuff goes. The one thing that I find really interesting about this, if you're a AAA publisher, or if you're just a bigger publisher in the games industry at all, I would be really interested to see how they feel about a company like Microsoft having the influence that they have right now, because they're making the industry incredibly uncomfortable for a lot of these other companies, just as a byproduct of what they're doing on their AI side. All the investments that they're making, all the money that they're putting into all of these different data centers and things like that, the increasing of prices of hardware specifically pretty much across the board, that becomes a threat for a lot of these other companies.
The AAA bubble will burst by June. I don't think it will be that soon. I agree with you, it'll burst. I don't think it'll be by June. I think the AAA bubble isn't bursting until about 2027 or so.
So I'm wondering what their perspective on this is. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys did enjoy the video, like the video, subscribe to the channel, follow me on Twitch, follow me on Kick, follow me on Twitter, and make sure you guys come back later this week. I think I have like 2 more videos that I have to do this week. This one just kind of...
Yeah, good video. Absolutely agree. Yeah, throwing this in the chat for you guys. You know, give it a like, a sub, whatever y'all do. The industry is in such a despicable spot right now, and it's super easy to jump to like, oh, these AAA developers are awful. Oh, they make these woke games. These games suck. All that is true, but they are not the largest culprit. The largest culprit right now are these big tech companies and these world governments that are exploiting the upgrade in technology that they want to use as a means to an end to remove your freedoms, to take away your right to ownership. And what's happening in the gaming industry is a byproduct of that, and it's a shitty byproduct of it, and absolutely we got to call it out. But it's lower on the ladder, it's lower on the rung in terms of like the actual final boss. Alright, let's talk about something else, though. Let's make fun of trans people. Transgender male stripped of Strongwoman title. South Park prediction comes true. Good. Good. I'm glad they were stripped of this. This was fucking ridiculous. That should have never been eligible in the first place. And if the strongman competition is to be believed, they didn't know it was a dude. It was never disclosed to them. Although you should kind of be able to look at him and tell, but whatever. So yeah, let's check this out.
Okay, well, Matt and Trey Stradamus from South Park have accurately predicted the future again.
Trey Stradamus.
Yeah.
And what have they predicted?
Well, there was a Strongwoman event held in...
Like, look at this, dude. This looks like Carrot Top. How do you not know this was a dude? Hold on. Just... Look at Carrot Top. Look at Carrot Top. Look at that. Look at Carrot Top. Look at that. How'd you not know this was a dude?
America last week, or this week, I think.
Oh, God, I know where this is going immediately.
Yeah. And this is the winner. This is Jamie Booker, or Jamie Booker, I think.
James Booker.
Yeah, James Booker. And it has erupted in scandal. South Park got it exactly right.
Dude, I saw some fucking lefty, liberal, woke-ass accounts on X being like, you don't understand. South Park was making fun of you chuds who thought this would be a reality when they made this.
Strongwoman!
So this is Jamie Booker, and this is Jamie Booker accepting the award for World's Strongest Woman.
G says, create trans league. Holy shit, you ain't gonna watch Michael Phelps swim against a wheelchair person. First of all, you are retarded. I would absolutely watch Michael Phelps swim against a wheelchair-bound, broken individual. That sounds funny as fuck. But no, jokes aside, yeah, create trans league. I'd be A-okay with that. Like, not to endorse this mental illness or anything, but if there are going to be these deranged, depraved individuals trying to compete in these sorts of spaces, at the very least, make a league of their own.
Yes, step off that podium.
Yeah, so that lady that stepped off the stage is Andrea Thompson from the UK.
Okay, not Andrew Thompson.
No, Andrea. She's a real woman.
Yeah.
But she knew what was up. She knew that Jamie was a dude.
Do they have to disclose this?
Well, yes, they're supposed to, and Jamie apparently didn't disclose this. Ooh. But just to give you an idea of the discrepancy, right? Andrea Thompson, the one that walked off, is 5'5" and 265 pounds.
And she could beat my ass. Dude, Andrea Thompson is a fucking monster. Like, I was watching some of the weightlifting and shit she was doing. Holy shit. Absolutely, like, in that top 1% and whatnot. Like, we talk about the averages, men on average stronger than women and shit like that. Yes, 100%. That's correct. Men dominate women. But there's exceptions. This broad is a beast.
Jamie Booker is 6'5" and 400 fucking pounds.
Wow, because it's really common a 6'5"
still under top 10
broad.
males.
Yeah, I know.
Correct.
Yet Jamie Booker still only won by 1 point.
So it's a weak, strong man.
It's a weak, strong woman man. Yeah. Anyway, let's have a look. Let's go. So here's Jamie Booker, and I think you can kind of tell straight away kind of thing. You let me know what you think.
Wait, is it Jamie, or are you just saying this for comedic value?
Well, it's Jammie.
Yeah, I can see how you'd go there.
Yeah, I think it's Jamie, but I don't know. It could be Jamie.
So women don't get a whole lot of respect.
This is a dude. This is a dude. Or is the unluckiest woman. Bro. Let's do some more side-by-side comparisons, because I'm enjoying that. Brock Lesnar daughter. I spelled Lesnar wrong. Brock Lesnar's daughter, right? You can still tell, it's difficult, but you can still tell that this is a woman. Right? You can still tell that this is a woman. Conversely, This dude's name is probably like Tanner or something.
Or appreciation or payment.
Oh, dude, you
And,
never seen Brock Lesnar's daughter before? Bro, Brock's jeans beat his wife's into submission when they got together. Straight the fuck up.
the sport, strongman / strongwoman in my case.
Whoa!
Okay,
I call bullshit, good sir.
I'm sorry. The way it started out to begin with. Okay, so women don't get much respect in
Dude,
sport.
right? No sable jeans. What a sad state of affairs.
Yeah, I know. How's the hypocrisy?
Yeah.
It's just so fucking ironic, don't you think?
Yeah, making women's sport for women only would be a start for respect.
Yeah.
Apparently what we do get is more TikTok followers. I have,
Great. More TikTok followers doesn't make you any more of a woman. I don't know where this mentality came. So actually, to be fair, to equivocate these two things that have nothing to do with each other is so irrational. You might actually be a woman because more TikTok followers does not translate to, oh, I now have a uterus.
40,000 more TikTok followers than the world's strongest man. In fairness, he has way more Instagram followers than I do, but that's weird, right? How... You guys...
That's not weird. That's not weird at all. Because, dudes don't use TikTok, or at least they shouldn't.
like me a lot, I guess.
This is fucking crazy.
I mean, come on, that's clearly a dude.
I'm sorry, but a born male bitching about the patriarchy or whatever you want to call it, or wage gaps, is fucking priceless.
Yeah, I know.
It's priceless. And no wonder the women are pissed. No wonder they're stepping off the podium.
Yeah. So anyway, here's Jamie's post-event statement.
Hello, everyone. Now that I've had a moment...
Look at this! Look, like, God, this ain't even a trans individual. This is trans fridge. This is trans fridge. They identify as a fucking kitchen appliance.
to come home and shower.
Do you notice the change in voice? I think that Jamie has won the event and thought, oh, fuck, there might be a bit of an investigation here.
Yeah, I better cake on the femininity a
So
bit
I
thicker.
better make a post-event video and talk like this.
Yeah, I better cake on the feminine voice a bit thicker.
Yeah.
And get away from the noise for a minute. I wanted to express a very heartfelt thank you to everyone that has supported me over the past many months to make this possible.
To make it possible, well, it's gone now, bro.
Everyone who donated to my GoFundMe, everyone who's helped cook food.
What do you need a GoFundMe for? What do you need? You said to help you cook food? What do you need to go feed me for? Bro, again, you are a fridge. The food is in you.
For me, everyone who's checked in on my mental health, as there were a lot of dark days getting here.
Doesn't it just fucking boil your piss, right? Oh, my mental health, my GoFundMe, there was dark days, people are cooking me meals.
They were massaging my ovaries. Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah, they were tickling my balls. Yeah, I mean, the level of I'm a victim is just quite sickening, I think.
This is why TERFs exist.
Yeah.
I want to say thank you to my coach, obviously, and to my gym mates for always pushing me. And
dude, what sick fucking coach? Take away their license as well. I don't know what sort of license you need to have to be a coach in a situation like this, like the Strongwoman competitions or whatnot, or if you need any sort of qualifications. Take their license away as well. Your coach knowingly allowed you, a dude, to destroy the winnings of women. Take away that motherfucker's license.
Encouraging me, and same thing to my fellow competitors today. You are all insanely badass women, and it was an honor just to even share the stage with you.
It actually makes me a little bit angry. You badass women, it was an honor to share this. You're a dude, come on.
Yeah, I'm at a loss for words. Look, you seem like a nice person.
I don't.
No, they don't.
Yeah, I disagree. I think he's a fucking scam artist. Like, he didn't
There you
disclose the fact that he was a dude. He went into this fucking strong woman competition that has a policy of only allowing women. Oh my God, what a world.
Yeah, but can you be a nice person and also be completely delusional? It's a
No. Well, I mean, but this isn't delusion. Like you said, this is a scam. All right? This is a dude that, much like the Leah Thomas situation, couldn't make it in the big leagues as a dude, so took the easy way out, became a woman to then get the gold for their own selfish satisfaction. So no, you can't be a nice person. You're scum.
hard one to call. That
Shout
could
out,
be a really
Hypno.
nice
Hypno
person,
emojis
but
in the
they're
chat, everybody.
obviously delusional.
Happy
They
Thanksgiving
think
to you
they're
too,
a
brother.
woman. They
Wait,
think
Puerto Ricans celebrate Thanksgiving? Yeah, I guess that makes sense, because y'all can, like, be thankful that you're not Cuban. That makes sense.
they can go into
Or, fucking worse, Dominican.
these competitions.
Yeah, but he blatantly hid the fact that he was a dude. Like, there's some level of deception. Well, look,
Yes,
there's a
I
massive
agree,
level
yeah.
of deception
I
in
agree,
that.
yeah.
Like, you are purposefully doing the wrong thing.
Yeah.
I genuinely did not expect this outcome, and I'm not saying that in a way to gloat or be prideful. When I signed up for this competition, I did not expect to win.
Wait. One of these two things is a lie. Like, I didn't expect to win. So either you think that you're such a loser as a dude that even when you become a woman, other women are stronger than you, which we know you don't fucking believe that. Or two, you're just flat lying. You did expect to win, and you want to hide behind the facade of humility.
Isn't that telling, though? When I signed up for this competition, I did not expect to win. Yeah, you won because you're a 400-pound man.
And that goes to say something, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You didn't even have full confidence in yourself that you would win against.
That's an excellent point, by the way, Lesis. Why participate? Is the point of sports to win? Absolutely. Anytime I go into something, whether it be back in high school when I was running track or playing soccer or whatnot, or nowadays when I'm playing video games, yeah, I'm going in expecting to win. And if I lose, I'm pissed. Because the whole point's to fucking win.
Women. And you won.
Yeah, I mean, your closest competitor was almost half your weight. Half your weight and like a foot shorter than you.
It was a pipe dream. Obviously, everyone enters competition wanting to win. But I did not think that this would be the one for me. And the fact that it is I'm genuinely at a loss for words. I don't know what comes next.
I'll tell you what comes next, motherfucker! World's strongest woman-born male has title stripped as scandal
The world is healing. 4 years ago, 5 years ago, would never have lost the fucking title. Would never, would have been praised, would have gone on all these talk shows, would have sat down with Drew Barrymore. Drew Barrymore would have got down on her knees and cried and talked about how great and beautiful and important this is and how the history will remember this as, you know, a way forward for trans rights and all that other absolute bullshit. The world is healing. Now, don't get me wrong. We're still on the brink of World War III. We're still under threat of China absolutely ruling and destroying us. You know, there's still a global cabal of pedophiles that run the world. Where the fuck's that list at? But we can take some solace in knowing that this dude who cosplays a woman and stole opportunities and stole this satisfaction in their craft from women has lost their fucking title.
rocks.
Well, good.
Yeah, the world's strongest woman competition has been rocked by scandal, with the world champ stripped of her title, amid a podium protest. The world's strongest...
Amid a protest. This protest would not have been covered, it wouldn't have been acknowledged, it would have been just accused of a minority of far-right, Nazi, racist, transphobic bigots. No. This is the average sentiment of the regular individual. This is a 80-20 issue at the lowest. At the lowest. This, honestly, this is probably like a 95-5 issue. But let's be conservative, ironically, and say 80-20.
Woman competition has been plunged into scandal, with former world champ Jamie Booker stripped of her world title. In 48 hours of chaos, Booker was crowned champ at this weekend's official Strongwoman Games World Championship in the United States, only for the trophy to be taken away.
I would love to know how that played out. Did they knock on her door?
And yes, it did happen to Leah Thomas, but if I recall, it happened way later after literal years of outrage, not days.
Or FBI style and like break down the door and demand the trophy be handed back over.
Well,
And you know what? You know what? If the FBI did break down the door, Hulk Smash over here would probably be able to take out 6 or 7 real good fucking agents before they were finally able to reclaim that trophy. Bro, you couldn't just send in the regular ass FBI to bring down this sentient refrigerator. You gotta call in the motherfucking Avengers, bro. Thor gotta come in with the might of Odin to rot this bitch. This dude.
it was more low-key than that. The event organisers did a little investigation, right? They put out a statement. It appears that an athlete who is biologically male and who now identifies as female competed in the women's open category, the organisation said in a statement. Official strongman officials, okay, were unaware of this fact ahead of the competition, and we have been urgently investigating since being informed. An attempt has been made to contact the competitor involved, but a response has not been received.
Wow.
So Jamie went into shutdown mode.
Ghost mode.
Ghost mode, yeah. Jamie's mental health got the...
Bro, hold on. You know what this is? You know what this is? Dude, no, not Google, YouTube. Hold on. I guarantee you this is this dude right now. Oh, god damn it. Can I not find the scene? I figured it'd be right. Yeah, here we go. This is this fucking tranny right now.
Looks like you're still away.
Yeah, I'm aware.
I will get you, shitter!
better of him.
Yes.
So he just went into blocking his ears mode.
Yeah. You'll have to pry this trophy out
Yeah.
of my dead cold balls.
Yeah. Had we been aware, or had this been declared at any point before or during the competition, this athlete would not have been permitted to compete in the women's open category.
Yes.
We are clear the competitors can only compete in the category for the biological sex recorded at birth. It is our...
Yeah, the motherfucker lied. These are the official rules. The fact, by the way, the fact that this even needs to be listed as official rules shows how far our society has collapsed. But that's neither here nor there. So again, back to that, well, he seems like a nice person argument. Fuck that. This is a liar, a fraud. This is an actual grifter.
responsibility to ensure fairness and ensure athletes are assigned to men or women's categories based on whether they are recorded as male or female at birth.
This is fucking crazy, isn't it? They're going to have to start making the athletes sign documentation before they compete, saying, I state I was born a woman.
It's
not even that, not signed documentation. You could lie. You're going to have a doctor come in and be like, all right, bring in the next one. Pull down your pants. Oh, what's it? Cock and balls? Sorry. You outski.
Fucking ridiculous. They need to bring back sex tests.
It's crazy.
It's like the Olympic thing we spoke about, like, what was that, earlier this month?
Yeah.
They got to start checking women's knackers.
The ball inspector.
Yeah. So anyway, Andrea Thompson puts out a statement, so she's now the
Andrea Thompson handled this with such grace.
rightful winner. She holds the title kind of thing.
Yes.
She says, I am grateful to the team for reaching out to me, investigating and rectifying the situation so quickly, honouring the title to me, which is something we just don't see in any other sport that has faced a similar position. This means that we as a community are taking a stand, protecting women's sport as we have fought so hard for. Whilst I cannot say it won't ever happen again, I am confident that we will work something out to prevent it in the future. For now, ladies, keep showing up. Take up space. Be loud. Be proud. Show your daughters how amazing you are. Much love. Well, good.
And you're right. She did lose her moment on the podium, but at the end of the day, I'm glad this was rectified. I'm glad she's getting her trophy. That's at least something.
on you, Andrea Thompson.
Show up, be proud, show up, show us your tits.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, did Jamie have...
Jamie had some fucking knockers,
Had
yeah,
some,
because I
yeah.
think Jamie is like, well, kind of a strong man, but let's face it, if he went in the actual strong man competition, he'd rank like 5 or 6 fucking thousandth. But I think Jamie is kind of just a fatty, is what I was getting at. Now, Andrea is right. This shit keeps happening in women's sport.
Yes.
There was this fucking Canadian powerlifter, what was her name? April Hutchinson.
Whoa.
Yeah, I would not want to get on the wrong side of April. Now, April is actually a
Hulk?
chick, yeah. She's a chick Hulk. And good on her. Powerlifting is her thing, but she got fucking banned from powerlifting competitively in Canada for 2 years.
For protesting about...
Yup. That's Canada for you. Oh, a woman is, being effectively the entire woman's sport is being assaulted by an onslaught of mentally deranged cosplaying men, and you protest this and you're the one that gets banned? Sounds pretty fucking Canadian.
this.
Well, even worse, not just protesting about the fucking concept of a dude competing with chicks, for literally saying that a male powerlifter who was competing with her, Anne Andres or something,
Excuse me, it's ma'am. It is ma'am.
was a biological male.
Oh, the humanity.
Yeah, so this chick says, hey, this dude is a dude.
Yeah.
And the Canadian fucking Federation or whatever banned her for 2 years. Now, they later reduced it to 1 year.
Oh.
I'll be real, Jindy Maxie. Don't take this the wrong way. I don't want your ilk as the 51st president, as the 51st state. Because y'all will vote blue. You'll vote for these dumbass Democrat laws. Also, y'all got a lot of fucking brown illegal immigrants up in that bitch. And they're not even illegal by your guys' standards. Point is, y'all got a lot of Jeets over there. I don't want part of here. So, Alberta specifically? Okay, I'll make an exception just like for Alberta specifically. Alberta, what I've heard, is nice and based.
Okay, well, that's better.
But I mean, how fucked is that? This dude is a fucking dude. Here's Anne Andres.
Why is women's bench so bad? I mean, not compared to me.
Why does this look like Bobby Hill? Like this, Bobby Hill grew up and got his dick cut off and is now competing in fucking women's powerlifting. Huh, boy, ain't right.
We all know that I'm a training freak, so that doesn't count. And no, we're not talking about Mackenzie Lee. She's got little T-Rex arms and she's like 400 pounds of chest muscle, apparently. I mean, standard bench in powerlifting competition for women, I literally don't understand why it's so bad.
So here's a fucking self-admitted freak
Fair enough,
just
Zax.
mocking and belittling women competitors.
Yeah, the T-Rex arms, was it?
Yeah.
Broads want to bitch about the patriarchy, but you'll just willingly accept dudes coming in and usurping you in your space. Oh, it's fine. These dumb bitches. This was several years ago. This was like 2019 or something. There was this college, it was like Harvard or Princeton, one of these dumbass Ivy League colleges, right? That had a women's group, like the official college recognized feminist advocacy group or whatnot. And they voted on a new president. And the new president was, accepted. And then the new president transitioned to male. And so the feminist group ousted her as the president because she was no longer a she, because she was a male now because she transitioned. I'm so confused.
Yeah, T-Rex arms. But I mean, how fucked is that? And then this chick, this fucking April Hutchinson, gets banned for 2 years. Later, 1 year. They
Yeah.
reduced it to 1 year.
Yeah.
For calling this dude a dude. It's fucked.
It is.
But anyway, this was a good result in America. I'm glad they stripped this man of the world's strongest woman title.
Well, they have yet to claim the trophy back.
No, they did.
Oh, they did? I thought they went into ghost mode.
Well, yeah, the transgender has just like hidden. Yeah, so the transgender probably still has a trophy. But the competition, like the official people have said, nah, you didn't actually win. We're stripping this title from you.
Did they strip them altogether of competing? Like they couldn't get the second place?
Yeah. Yeah, but this runner-up, now the winner, rightfully says that, like, the chick that came 11th place, she couldn't go into, like, the final round, and she's been, like, deprived of her ability to say, well, I'm within the top 10 strongest chicks.
Yeah, she missed out on a place because of this.
Yeah. So South South Park got it right yet again. Visit Sugar Tits, she has a channel.
Yes, I do.
Thank you very much for watching. We'll catch you later. Ta-ta. Bye-bye.
See ya.
You'll love to see it. You'll love to see it. I'll link the video for you guys. The world is healing. Slowly but surely. We won't let the globalists take over. We're taking back America. Yeah, this is absolutely based. Good on everybody that protested this, made us think about this. Because these broads, they ain't dudes. These dudes, they ain't broads, guys. They're not. And we all know this. That's why you're here. To see people finally saying, you know what? Call me transphobic. Call me racist, call me Nazi, whatever. Like, the overzealous ideological nutbags have overplayed their hand to the point to where they have turned everyone against them. Every time I see LGB without the T trending on X, I get a little chubby. Oh, it makes me feel good. So yeah, shout the fuck out. Down with this monstrosity of an ideology. Things will only get better from here. Now, how about that fucking Epstein list? Alright, what we got next? Oh! So the Critical Drinker was on GB News, and I find this interesting because I never heard of GB News. I had to look him up. GB News has right-wing political leaning, characterized by an anti-woke stance and a focus on opinion-led, presenter-driven tone. Point is, do they really have a right-wing stance? Or do they have a right-wing stance by, like, fucking UK standards? Let's find out.
The worst year in history for Hollywood.
It's pretty close. It's been a pretty uninspiring year for movies. Pretty much all the top films that have come out this year, the big...
This is probably the year of my life I've seen the least amount of movies in theaters. And it sucks. Because I love going to the theater, dude. Going to the theater is like church for me, bro. This has just been such a disappointment.
Summer blockbusters have either been sequels or remakes or just generic Hollywood's comic book slop. So yeah, it's been pretty uninspiring, all things considered, and I think they've had some of the lowest box office in decades.
What were the sort of lowlights of the year for you? What were the worst films that came out?
Oh, take your pick. I mean, The Running Man was a really boring, uninspired remake of the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie from back in the 80s. Predator Badlands was yet another attempt to recapture the magic of the Predator franchise, which they've never managed to do since, since the original movie.
Nah, I disagree. Predators is awesome. Like, it doesn't, I guess in a sense, it doesn't quite recapture the magic of the original. I'll admit to that. But Predators is fucking good.
All of the various superhero flicks that we got, like Superman, was pretty dull. It's not really going to do much for the James Gunn universe. Even things like the Marvel movies, they used to be money printers. Pretty much all three of those films were just boring, forgettable slop. Yeah, it's not been a great year for movies, sadly.
And what's the underlying reason for that? Is this poor production values? Is this bad writing? Is this wokeness? What are the sort of themes that stand out for you?
I think it's an over-reliance on tried and tested approaches that have worked for the past 10, 15 years. Like the assumption was, well, everyone likes big-budget superhero movies, so we're just...
I kind of agree, but I'm going to disagree with it. It's not an over-reliance on tried and tested things that work for the last 10 to 15 years. It's an over-reliance of 70% of things that work for the last 10 to 15 years, but with modern-day cultural subversions. So, like, there's a reason that the hero's journey still works nowadays, all these thousands of years later, because it's tried and true and it's tested and it's worked. People don't get tired of seeing the hero's journey story. But if you took the hero's journey and swapped it with a woman and add in all this modernity to it and whatnot, yeah, that gets a little fucking tiring. So I think Drinker is kind of correct here, but at least currently, and I did cut him off, so to be fair, I could end up being wrong. Might end up, I think he doesn't quite have the core issue down right.
Just going to keep making more of them, and clearly that has run its course now. There's a tendency to overinflate the budgets of movies, so that even relatively modest films are still costing like $100 million at least. And when you get that amount of money on the line, there's a kind of corporatized risk aversion that starts to take hold, because there's a lot of money at stake, and you don't want to take risks on like crazy experimental projects or new IPs or whatever. And you end up with just more of the same.
But to be fair, people aren't taking chances on new IPs either. People aren't taking chances. While I agree with his overall sentiment, like about the Hollywood blockbuster, the small sort of films aren't doing anything either. The Smashing Machine was a fucking flop. Christie was a fucking flop. Sinners did all right, but like when you look into the actual numbers for Sinners, so much of that was self-funded by was it Ryan Coogler himself, or was it the star? Was it Michael B. Jordan? Either way, when you look at how much it cost to produce versus how much it made at the box office, it's not actually doing that well. F1 technically didn't make its money back, but it's a loss leader for Apple, so it didn't really need to make its money back. But even so, like, I think that these other films that aren't just this corporatized Hollywood slop still aren't making money.
So all of those things combined, it makes a tremendously dull cinema landscape at the moment.
It just makes you think, is it really that hard to make a good movie? And maybe it is in 2025, but we did have a kind of golden era, maybe even 15 years ago, where you had so many incredible films coming out in 1 year. And this year, I can't even think of one film that you'd say is like going to be a classic in 10 or 15 years' time.
No, exactly. It's, you know, it's not necessarily impossible to make a good movie nowadays. We've had a few good ones this year. They're not going to be remembered necessarily, but
Weapons will not go down as a classic, for example. Like Weapons might go down as something within the horror community that is remembered for what it did and for being unique and weird and experimental. But I don't even know if Weapons will go down as well received and loved as, you know, his previous outing, Barbarian. But it's never going to break into the mainstream zeitgeist in terms of being lauded as one of the greatest in, you know, 10, 15, 20 years, the way that things like, you know, the original Friday the 13th is.
You know, Sinners was really good. But, you know, it's clearly the work of a director who had an actual
I knew that Sinners would get brought up. That's why I called it out earlier.
creative vision instead of just a studio railroading someone. Weapons was a decent little horror.
And he brought up Weapons as well. Bro, again, just like in that previous video we talked about Battlefield 6, your boy is fucking psyched. I am tapped in to the pulse of the zeitgeist. Donate to your Lord and Savior, Leon Christ.
Movies, so things like that. Even Warfare, like a relatively low budget war movie made by people who were actually in the Iraq war, didn't make a huge splash, and it's probably not going to be remembered, but it is still a decent film. And so there's the occasional one that's coming out, but yeah, nothing iconic. And I don't know, there's something about the movies right now that is just not capturing people's imagination. It might be the fact that movie tickets are at least, what, 15, 20 pounds a pop
I like
now?
that.
And people are less and less inclined to go and spend that money at the cinema, particularly when it's going to be released on streaming, whatever it might be, within a month or
17
two
days
anyway.
later.
So, like, what's the incentive?
What did you make of the film?
Mind you, I bet Zootopia is going to crush the box office. I bet Zootopia is going to be a legitimately good movie. I think it's going to do well at the box office. We had... Say what you will about Minecraft in terms of its quality. Minecraft made just shy of $1 billion. Why? Because it was at least an event. Sure, you had... It's not going to be remembered. Minecraft isn't going to go down in history as like one of the greatest video game adaptations, a la, Super Mario Bros. Movie, Sonic the Hedgehog 3, things like that. But it did numbers. Why? Because there was this hype around it. There was an event. Whether it be for meme culture or not, it made money.
Bugonia. Have you seen that? I thought that was a great horror film or kind of thriller comedy that came out recently. That was like my favorite film of the year.
I haven't seen that one yet. I have heard good things about it, but yeah, personally haven't seen it, so I can't really form an opinion about it, I'm afraid.
So Matt Walsh tweeted saying, what pop culture...
Matt Walsh tweeted, alrighty, so we can already know it's gonna be fucking retarded. Matt Walsh tweeted, moving on.
Peaked in 2007 to 2008. There was Will Be Blood, No Country for Old Men, Zodiac, Michael Clayton, Into the Wild, Superbad, The Assassination of Jesse James, all came out in 2007. The Dark Knight, The Wrestler, and Tropic Thunder were released in 2008. Do you agree with him that that was kind of peak modern cinema?
I mean, I don't know if I'd agree with his assessment of the particular year, but it does feel like we have peaked in terms of like a pop culture and a shared cultural experience that we can all get invested in. It feels like we just don't have that anymore. It used to be that, you know, a movie like, say, The Matrix would come out and everyone would talk about it because it was this cultural event. But in the past 10 years, it's difficult to think of anything that, you know, has really come out that we are all invested in and everyone wants to talk about. So he could be right. Round about that period is probably where the homogeneity started to kick in, and you know, things became a lot safer. We started to get just the conveyor belt of like big franchises, that sort of thing. And yeah, we've lost that spontaneity that you used to get with pop culture, where something new and interesting would come along, and it feels like we are long overdue.
I mean, I would say that we had that with K-pop Demon Hunters, but the thing with K-pop Demon Hunters was that it was a Netflix release. Yeah, it got its limited theatrical run afterwards, after it blew up. But like in terms of something came out that nobody expected, it blew up, everyone was talking about it. I would say we had that with K-pop Demon Hunters. And if K-pop Demon Hunters can maintain the momentum and more importantly the goodwill they built up with that first one, you could be looking at like one of the next big great franchises. But by and large, like it's lacking. I wouldn't say it's gone like Drinker is, but it is lacking.
Thing like that, and we just haven't had it recently.
I know that something that you talk about a lot in your reviews and your YouTube channel is the political messages of modern films. And I know that in 2020, obviously, there was this huge BLM thing, and that fed into pop culture, into Hollywood, and so on. In 2025, are they still producing so-called woke films, or is that died down a bit?
The general consensus is that it is dying down, but you're always going to get a few holdouts, and perhaps something like...
Even if it's dying down, it doesn't really matter, because the problem with, you know, film, and really the pop culture and entertainment sphere as a whole, isn't necessarily wokeness. Like, that is a problem, but that is not the problem. Because if you removed all the wokeness, there's been plenty of films that came out this year that were not quote-unquote woke, but they were still garbage because they were, like Drinker said earlier, made as if they were done on an assembly line. They are safe, they are generic, they lack any sense of originality or hype. Like, it is military ration food, the movie. So yeah, getting wokeness out will not inherently improve film.
One Battle After Another is a good example of that, where it is just a straight up propaganda movie, extolling the virtues of domestic terrorism and just all the usual nonsense. And it's hard to believe that a movie like that was greenlit in this day and age. It really feels like we've moved past that, but it probably speaks volumes to the fact that like it was a massive flop at the box office, and it contributed to the worst October at the box office in 30 years. And that's not even adjusting for inflation. These are movies that people do not want now. People are so tired. There's an actual political fatigue now, I think, that's kicked in with audiences, where they don't want political propaganda in one direction or the other. They just want to go to the movies to escape that stuff. And Hollywood would be well advised to listen to it.
There's a really interesting clip from Matt Damon a few years ago talking about modern films and why filmmakers are no longer taking big risks. And he said that back in the 2000s, you would release a film, it would go out in the cinema, and if it was a flop in the movie theaters, then it didn't necessarily matter, because the DVD sales would also kind of boost the profits of the movie companies or the movie production companies. But today you don't have that. Maybe you've got the same thing on streaming, but it's not the same.
Well, it's not the same because you're not making money on streaming. Like, if a movie bombs at the box office and then goes to streaming, people aren't just like, oh, this movie I've never heard of that had no cultural relevance or significance because it wasn't in the headlines because it didn't make any money, or at least it wasn't in the headlines for positive reasons. I'm going to now get a Netflix subscription to watch it. That's not happening.
What's your thesis? Do you agree with Matt Damon around the reason why movie makers aren't taking these big risks as they used to on, say, new scripts and original films?
I think it's that combination of he's obviously 100% right, and he certainly knows the industry better than I ever will. But yeah, the demise of physical media has been a huge blow to like the back end revenue of a lot of these productions, because streaming services, it doesn't generate anything like the same kind of profits for you as physical media does. So that is definitely a huge component of it. The other big component of it is just the fact that movies have gotten a lot more expensive to make, whether it's an over reliance on VFX, whether it's just more bloat within the studios, whether it's it costs more to shoot on location. Apparently this year has seen like a 20 or 30% drop in the number of productions that are shooting in the LA area or even operating out of there, purely because it's become so expensive. You pay so much tax to operate there. They're moving all these things overseas to other places where they can get a better deal. And so add all those things together, it just contributes into that general risk aversion, because the margins now are so much tighter on a success or a failure. And there's...
Dude, the risk aversion aspect is always going to blow my mind, because when did we as a society decide to get so safe? Like, let's just use YouTube as a general example, since YouTube is now the most widely viewed visual platform in the world. It dwarfs all the streaming services. It obviously dwarfs cable TV. It dwarfs even other streaming things like Twitch and whatnot. YouTube is the most watched across all age demographics, by the way, not just the key demo, but even older people. YouTube is the most watched, right? My fucking grandma watches YouTube. Not even when she's not watching me. Like, my grandma spends half her fucking day on YouTube. The other half is on Netflix, but even so. Point is, so let's use YouTube as the point of reference here, because it is the largest. Dude, people on YouTube, even they are more safe now. Like, it's crazy. Go back to just 2017, 2018, 2019, and you're starting to see the signs of the homogeny, but it's not to the point it is now. And it's insane to me that, like, people are out there not taking risks or putting out this crazy shit or this interesting stuff. Whereas you've got folks like those of us on SNH who actually say tranny and say homo and say faggot and whatnot. But that's a minority, is because people are afraid. And that fear, yeah, it might bring in more total viewers, but it doesn't bring in the dedication. And without dedication within a fan base or within a community or within a culture group or whatnot, then you're not doing anything memorable or anything of note. Yeah, it's the chicken and egg problem.
There's fewer points, there's fewer second chances to recoup your losses later on.
So you have these incredible movie makers, these directors like James Cameron and Ridley Scott.
What year does this dude think it is? 1992?
Who used to produce amazing films.
Okay.
And
I jumped the gun.
We used to love those films in the 80s, the 90s. I mean, for example, Gladiator, I think that was an amazing film. But then Ridley Scott makes Gladiator 2, and I think there's a quote of him saying, this is like the best film that he's ever made. And I'm watching it and I'm thinking, how is that possible? Same thing with, James Cameron today, making some pretty awful films. Why is it that
Michael Doberman, Chris Ray Gun is my largest inspiration for doing YouTube. I absolutely remember him. And it's funny, because he would hate me. Chris Ray Gun and I would not see eye to eye on anything. We would not agree. I follow him on X, and I always see the most brain-dead, worst, awful takes. But yeah, Chris Ray Gun is my biggest inspiration to actually even start doing YouTube.
these directors who used to be like amazing are now producing absolute nonsense?
Yeah, I think in the case of Ridley Scott, Ridley is a very, very old man now, and he should probably retire. Yeah, he's. I've read reports from people who worked as like his DP on things like Gladiator 2 and Napoleon. He's just not. He's not putting in the effort these days. He's barely even showing up on set. So like he should just retire from filmmaking. He's got a tremendous back catalogue of incredible movies that he made, in the 80s, the 90s, even the 2000s. That's enough. He's got nothing more to prove now. With someone like James Cameron, I don't know what it is. I made a video about this just recently. He has somehow become so absorbed in this world of Avatar that he's created. He's spent like effectively the past 20 years working on it.
Why? Again, Avatar will never be the next Star Wars, the next Indiana Jones, the next Lord of the Rings. It's so... And you know what? Fine. Good. You know what? The more James Cameron focuses on Avatar, the less he puts out other dumb shit that people would laud as amazing and incredible and as the next big thing, because James Cameron is a fucking hack, and he has been for the last 20 fucking years, maybe more, maybe even 30 years, because we're in 2025 now. I keep forgetting. James Cameron's a fucking hack, dude. So yeah, focus all your time, effort, and energy onto Avatar and stop ruining the Terminator.
It obviously means a lot to him. It honestly just feels like generic, standard sci-fi adventure story. It's like someone fed Dances with Wolves and Fern Gully into ChatGPT and just said, like, give me a generic script of this in a sci-fi setting, and that's what you've got. Visually, I think that's what appeals to him. It's a visual, technical marvel. But if there's no real substance and there's no interest in stories or characters to back it up, people don't care. They go to these movies like Avatar 1 and 2, they spend like $2 billion on them, like they make insane amounts of money, and everyone forgets about them like a couple of months after they've left cinemas. No one ever talks about them. They've got no cultural footprint, and it's, in the case of guys like Cameron...
Well, the cultural footprint is the tech demo. Like, hold on, let me... Watch this, all right? GameCube Zelda tech demo. This is remembered to this day. Like, yeah, 5 years ago. Yeah, this is a real 5 years ago. You know, half a million views. People remember when this was announced. Y'all remember when this was announced? This broke it didn't even really break the internet, because the internet wasn't like the cultural juggernaut it is now. But there's a reason people remember that tech demo all these years later, is because it was like a signifier of the future to come. That tech demo, yeah, Avatar is the same way, except for people don't remember it. Avatar is literally just a tech demo. It's a 3 fucking hour long tech demo.
It's a shame that he's devoted so much.
No, that didn't turn into Twilight Princess. That turned into Wind Waker, and then people rejected Wind Waker, so he got Twilight Princess.
Of his career now to something that no one really cares about.
I can't remember. I think it was in one of your films about James Cameron, or one of your reviews. I can't remember if it was him or another person, but you were saying that basically, if you give a director...
I'm a huge Andrew WK fan. I absolutely remember Andrew
because
WK.
It's such a big
I used to go on stage. With the same outfit, the white on white with a white base, except for I would always wear a Sonic shirt. That way I had some color to it, and it was a big blue Sonic decal slapped on my base. But yeah, like I derived half my stage presence from Andrew WK.
They have this kind of ego, and no one is keeping them in check to make sure the movie is actually a good movie. They, if you give them such a big budget and such just complete independence to do whatever they want, then in a way they're making a worse film, because it's all about their own vision. And there's, but then there's also the other end of things where you've got too many people trying to interfere. So there's a right balance, isn't there, where, studios need to give directors some independence, but not complete reign to do whatever they want.
There's a balance to be struck for sure. And the nature of that balance kind of depends on the director. Like some guys, you can trust them.
You can trust Tarantino. Whether you like Tarantino or not, his movies are an event. If I was a studio, I'd go hands... If I was a studio and I got fucking Quentin Tarantino making a film, hands off. Let him cook. I'm a studio and I got Zack Snyder, and I'm saying this as a Snyder fan, bro, we're going to be invested in literally every fucking thing you do, because, yo, homie, someone else writing that shit, okay?
Have their own creative vision, and they will give you a great piece of art at the end of it. Other people need to be reined in a little bit, and I think the example that you're citing there was a guy like Taika Waititi, who did produced tremendous films like Jojo Rabbit, excellent stuff. Obviously did good things for the Marvel universe with Thor Ragnarok. That was a big success. Then, they gave him complete creative control, and he's like this mad creative genius who doesn't have any restraint or any self-discipline. And when there's no one around to tell him no, or are you sure this is really a good idea, guys like that just go completely off the rails. They need some checks and balances to hold them in place and, you know, rein in some of their wilder instincts. And so I suppose it's the job of a studio and it's the job of a good producer to understand the director they're working with and know how much control and how much checks and balances they should have. But yeah, it is definitely something that they need to be aware of, because you can get absolute disasters with hundreds of millions of dollars lost if the wrong guy is given too much control.
I remember when Avatar came out originally, the first one, obviously everyone was kind of marveled by the CGI and the incredible look of the film. The storytelling was, you know, another matter, but that was really the cutting edge, I suppose, of CGI at the time. But now every single film seems to just be CGI, and you know, we're so used to it as audiences seeing.
Well, it wasn't just the CGI, to be fair. Like don't get me wrong, Avatar, while that movie sucks because of how generic and boring it is, it wasn't just the CGI. It was there was something else to it. There was the color palette. Like you get, this was the time when people were first starting to get into like home theaters, like becoming the norm. Real big TVs, real like over the top sound system shit. That was becoming easily accessible to the public beyond hobbyists. And like Avatar, even at home on a big TV, looked brilliant beyond the CGI because the color palette, the way it popped on the screen was visually fascinating. That gimmick can only work for so long.
Some incredible images. This over-reliance on CGI is becoming controversial now. So there was this recent trailer that came out for a Moana film, a kind of live-action remake of the Moana Disney film. And that film only came out, I think, less than 10 years ago anyway. So it's, and the trailer was basically all CGI. It was like, it didn't even look like a live-action film. So what do you make of this weird...
Yeah, those of you guys talking about Thor Ragnarok in the comments, first of all, yeah, it was a financial success. I like Thor Ragnarok. World War Hulk is one of my favorite comic book storylines. It's probably my second favorite Hulk storyline of all time. I think the movie absolutely butchered it. That's my biggest grievance with Thor Ragnarok, is the butchering of, not World War Hulk, sorry, Planet Hulk. World War Hulk is my favorite storyline. Planet Hulk, sorry, second favorite storyline, and it butchered the Planet Hulk storyline.
Use of CGI and this obsession with CGI.
I loved Ultimate Muscle
Hollywood,
back in the day.
Producers.
It is, it comes down to a lack of confidence in the product, because what they'll do, right, if you were to say shoot a scene that's all physically done, right, with like lighting and like the backgrounds and everything like that, and you decide later that it's not quite right, we want to change it, well, it's a huge undertaking to then alter that. You might have to go back and do reshoots, which are very expensive. But if you just shoot everything like basically in a green room, right, and you can put in any CGI around it that you want, you've got all the options under the sun to just manipulate it any way you want afterwards, based on like user feedback, based on test screenings, whatever you want to say. It's where you don't have a clear artistic vision and you don't really know what you want to do with this movie. And so it just allows filmmakers to defer filmmaking decisions until further down the road, when they've essentially got a committee that tells them what to do. That's part of the reason why CGI is so prevalent now, and partly because it allows them to just do things easier. Like, rather than have to construct an enormous set that's going to be hugely time consuming, rather than have pyrotechnics go off so that you can have...
Right, but then you've got the uncanny valley effect, right? The CGI has gotten... CGI is fine. Like, I'm not inherently anti-CGI. I feel like most people aren't. You know, it's the very obvious. CGI should be used to enhance already existing practical effects. I don't like seeing everything on a green screen, this, that, and the other. So yeah, CGI is not inherently bad, but you will have this uncanny valley effect of like people... It's gotten so good that it's even worse, because people can tell something's off, but they don't know what it is. I'm not the average person, the average viewer or whatnot, that, you know, isn't the same as movie buffs that go to movies all the time, isn't the same as cinephiles. The average person can watch something that's heavily CGI'd and be like, I don't know what this is, but I can't, something is off. And CGI hasn't gotten worse. Now, CGI, the quality is worse because they've got VFX folks that don't know how to do their jobs, but that is a or they're too. It's not even that they don't know how to do their jobs. Actually, is that they are put under these insane limitations in terms of like time constraints, working with very, very limited resources by studio mandates. CGI is actually the best it's ever been when it's being implemented by people that are allowed to put the time, care, and effort into it that is necessary. So, like, no one's going to make the argument that CGI in 2012 is better than CGI in 2025. That's objectively false. We have much better technology now. However, are the studios giving the time, money, effort, and manpower to use it at its optimal, to use it in the most optimal way? The answer is no. So the product is worse, even if the CGI has the potential, is technically better.
Explosions and gunfire and stuff, just CGI all in later.
Exactly,
because it's less risk, it's less work to set it all up. And it's that combination of indecision and laziness and lack of creative vision that results in all of this stuff. And yeah, what's the point in creating a supposedly live action movie like Moana when none of it is live action? It's 90% CGI. It's just a joke.
Okay, so sticking with Moana, that film's coming out next year. I'm assuming that's not sort of one of the ones you're looking forward to. Maybe it is. What's on your list of films next year that you're, most excited about? I know that I can't think of, for the top of my head, too.
Man, off the top of my head, Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die. That's next year, right? Or is that late this year? Hold on. Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die. Yeah, that's next year. This movie looks fucking hilarious. This looks awesome. Movies 2026 coming out. What looks interesting? Fuck this movie. Never heard of this. Fuck this. Fuck this. Fuck this. Fuck this. Fuck this. Fuck Scream. Fuck Moana. The Odyssey. I'm down for the Odyssey. I'm down for the Odyssey. I'm very interested in what they're gonna do with that. I hate a lot of the casting choices, like most people do, but I'm interested in Nolan's vision. And if it's awful, I'll have a lot of fun ragging on it. Yeah, very interested in Super Mario Galaxy. Masters of the Universe. I'm interested in. That's going to be definitely strange. Fuck this. Yeah, fuck Mandalorian Grogu. Fuck Supergirl. Fuck the Avatar movie. Fuck Dune Part 3. I cannot believe they bastardized Dune as badly as they have. Fuck the Exorcist reboots. Never even heard of this. The Bride is interesting. I'm potentially interested in The Bride. I'm interested in Street Fighter. I think Street Fighter is going to be awesome. Return to Silent Hill, I'm cautious about. Fuck a Cat in the Hat remake. Didn't even know they were doing that. Let's see. Fuck Evil Dead Burn. I do not believe in this whatsoever. Fuck Clayface. Fuck Spider-Verse. Jailer 2. I didn't even know there was a Jailer 1. Never heard of it, but that looks like Carl Urban, so that could be good. Terrifier 4 will be awesome. Devil Wears Prada 2. First one's good. I don't know what we'll think about the second one. Didn't even know they were doing another Angry Birds movie. Yeah, and that's that. So there's my thoughts on stuff coming out in 2026.
Too many, but 28 years later, I think there's like a part 2, maybe 29 years later. I'm sure they won't call it that.
No. Dune is my favorite book series of all time. The first movie by Denis Villeneuve is very good. They fucking destroyed the book in the second movie. It is... I could do like a 10-hour stream just on how much the second movie butt fucked the second half of the first Dune book. So no, it's not that I don't like Dune. I love Dune. Therefore, I fucking hate Dune Part 2, and I refuse to accept Dune Part 3.
It's coming out, and there's lots of other big blockbusters. What are you most looking forward to?
I think 28 years later, it's called The Bone Temple, which is like the concluding part of this. I guess it'll be fine. It's a different director working on it this time. It's Nia DaCosta, whose last big movie was Captain Marvel 2, so make of that what you will. I think the one I'm interested in is Project Hail Mary, which is based on the sci-fi novel by Andy Weir. It's the same guy who did The Martian, which ended up getting made into a really good film adaptation. Probably Ridley Scott's last good.
The Daisy Ridley upcoming zombie movie looks generic. I'm a huge zombie fan. There's nothing about it that looks interesting. The trailer, I watched it twice now, seems boring as fuck.
good movie. But anyway, they're working on that. I'm hoping that's going to be a
What
big
up,
success
Aberdeen?
because I'd love to see more original projects, you know, like especially in the sci-fi realm that's a little bit thought-provoking, a little bit interesting, plays with some cool ideas. So that's probably the one I'm most excited for, but that's only March that comes out. In terms of the big summer blockbusters, I was looking at a list here actually. We've got Avengers Doomsday, which is like the 35th Marvel movie. Spider-Man Brand New Day, which is like the 4th Spider-Man movie. Toy Story 5, Shrek 5, Super Mario 2, Batman Part 2. Like, it's all sequels or remakes. Like, Moana is another example of live action.
Again, Super Mario 2 is going to be good. I stand on that hill. I'll die on that hill. It's going to be good. If it's bad, I'll own up to it. But I think Super Mario 2 is going to be fucking awesome.
Remake. Yeah. Things like that do not fill me with excitement for the future of cinema, I'm afraid.
What about Christopher Nolan's Odyssey? What do you think of Christopher Nolan's latest adventures? This is already causing controversy by some who are looking at like the armor that he's using and these pictures that they're putting out, and some of the casting decisions are quite controversial. Are you looking forward to
whether the list is off or not? I was just saying what I was interested in.
that film?
It is a weird fit for Christopher Nolan. Like, I associate him with very, like, mind-bending science fiction type movies, a bit of action blended in. I don't really associate him with historical epics, and particularly his crazy way of telling stories where everything's non-chronological and, like, there's all kinds of stuff that jumps around all over the place. I don't know if he's the guy to be doing something like this. Particularly when I look at, Tenet. That was probably like peak Christopher Nolan in terms of how complex it was and how like difficult it was to actually wrap your head around. Obviously, he can do things like Oppenheimer, which is, more linear, but arguably...
Now, Oppenheimer was like my second favorite film of, was 2023 or 2024? The year it came out is my second favorite movie that year, after Godzilla -1.
A little bit long-winded, and, I'm not sure if it's... is going to hold up as well as people imagine, but still a good movie.
I also can't stand Dune 84,
I guess this is my
Osiris.
long-winded way of saying is I wouldn't necessarily have picked him to...
Unironically, the best adaptation of Doom is the sci-fi original miniseries. While the effects suck, it's probably the best adaptation.
Do a movie like this, but I'll at least go into it with an open mind. And hey, if it's great, then awesome, because I think it would be nice to see the return of the historical epic as like as a staple of, big budget Hollywood filmmaking.
I know that you produced your own pilot to, was it a TV series that you're going to produce, or you were thinking about producing, based on a book that you'd written?
Yes.
And I watched a video recently of you talking about why that went bad, why that went good, you're talking about the good and bad of it. Are you planning on doing any more of your own productions, something that you might be involved in the future?
Yeah, I mean, we've actually got a couple more that are coming out in that same sort of universe. So we did another crowdfunding campaign, raise more money. And so we've got 2 more short films coming out with, that same sort of, the same group of characters, same fictional universe. And I think from having done that first one, you learn a lot of lessons about how, you go about the business of filmmaking. Certainly from my own perspective, I learned a lot in terms of like script writing. When I did that short film initially, that was my very first attempt at ever writing a script for anything. And so you make a lot of mistakes along the way. Sometimes the production gets overtaken by just the sheer amount of stuff going on in it. And sometimes your script ideas and your characters can get lost in the mix. So yeah, that's a learning experience. And, now what we're going to be doing is
Scottish.
We've taken that and hopefully produce something next time around it's going to be a lot more tight, concise, more focused on the story and the characters. But it's an interesting process, and it's an interesting insight into how the world of particularly independent filmmaking is done, because you wrestle with a lot of restrictions when you're doing independent films on a budget, whether it's like time, whether it's the amount of crew that are available, what your actors can do, all that sort of thing. And so it's been a fun experience, and yeah, I'm looking forward to doing more of it.
It sounded like an absolute nightmare producing that short film from what you were talking about in your review or your YouTube video. You were saying that there's so much regulations and bureaucracy, and the actors couldn't speak some of the lines properly. It just didn't work.
Yeah.
So, can you tell us a bit more about what are the lessons that you've learned and what went wrong in that film?
Well, I think from the sort of bureaucracy point of view, that's like when you're working on any production that you have to use the acting unions with. They've got loads of restrictions about what you're allowed to do and so on, and it means essentially you just have to spend a lot of money to be able to shoot the film. And we were in that sort of awkward in between, where if it was a big budget movie with loads of money behind us, we could afford to do all those things and pay all those fees and everything. If it was a super low budget thing and you were essentially using amateurs or whatever, or people doing you favors.
No, I don't think Doom was cast when they used Zendaya. Now don't think this is a defense of Zendaya. I can't stand her. I think she's awful. I think she's a terrible fucking actress. There's nothing good about her. However, I don't think on average one actor that's not the lead actor can ruin a film. Now, it can happen, but by and large, it doesn't. I mean, again, she's only in like fucking 5 minutes tops of the fucking first one. But by and large, while I didn't like the casting of Chani, there's so much other greatness about the casting, the direction, like the ideas were there. Again, they fucking ruined it in the sequel. Absolutely ruined it. But to be fair, you could cast any other actress in the role of Chani. You could have casted any other actress in the role of Chani in Dune Part 1 and 2, but with the disgrace that Dune 2 did to the actual story, to the character of Chani, no actress would have saved it. No actress would have saved it whatsoever. I don't... Get yourself Sydney Sweeney. Make Sydney Sweeney Chani, don't give a fuck, because they butchered the character. Shout out, Paul. What up, homie?
Then a lot of those rules don't really apply to you because it's just a little, it's an amateur movie.
How did Dune Part 2 ruin it? She turns her back on Paul. She leaves Paul Atreides. I specify Atreides because we got Future Over You, whose real name is Paul, in the chat. Yeah, she is not ride or die. She's a bitch. She's not understanding whatsoever. She is not go through the trials and tribulations with him. It is a complete and utter destruction of the ride or die actual strong female that she is.
We were in between, where it's like all the rules and restrictions applied to us, but we didn't have the money to be able to pay all that.
Yeah, for those of you that read the book, the very end of the book, when Paul basically takes the Emperor's daughter as his bride, so that he can become the Emperor of the. I'm blanking on what their monarchy system or whatever it's called. But anyway, when Paul becomes the Emperor and he takes the Emperor's daughter as his bride, but he tells Chani, he's all like, look, I love you, I'm gonna be with you, you're gonna be my concubine, but for political purposes, I need to do this. And in the book, Chani's like, yeah, that makes sense. We're gonna rule this bitch. I'm gonna rule behind the scenes. She is literally nothing but a tool. Yeah, spoilers, JK. No, she thinks that Paul, in the movie, she leaves Paul, she hates the decision, she thinks that he's on a path to self-destruction, which, granted, to be fair, he is, but that's the point of the series. We don't need it spelled out for us. We're reading the books, or taking in the story to learn of the downfall of Paul Atreides and his arrogance and whatnot. We don't need some dumbass girl boss that knows everything to spell it out for us. Chani is ride or die for Paul in the books, and her leaving him, telling him he's wrong, all this stuff, is a complete betrayal of what the story is supposed to be about.
And then do all the things we want you to do in the
film. There's way more than 7. There's several books.
A thing that you have to work with, unfortunately, when you're...
But not all of them were Frank Herbert. A lot of them were supplemental afterwards, written by his son. No, not the Fremen. The Fremen are the people that Paul... are the tribe that Paul joins after the fall of the House Atreides. I mean the hierarchical monarchy system that Paul ends up taking control of after he kills the Emperor at the end of Dune. Like the intergalactic army.
In any kind of professional movie. And yeah, like, yeah, one or two, maybe one of the actors like had a bit of trouble with their lines. And so when you can't have the actor saying the monologue or whatever they need to deliver, then you had to recut the entire ending to accommodate that. And that was unfortunate. So... that's stuff you can't legislate for, unfortunately. And when you run out of time, you run out of resources. You just have to make the best of what you've got. But
yeah, just read. And if you don't read, if you're not a big reader, fair enough. I understand it. I highly recommend. I could not recommend the audiobook more. Like, the audiobook is a piece of fucking art, dude. The audiobook it's got music, it's got multiple voice actors, it's got full like sound effects. Check out the audiobook of Dune. It's awesome. And yeah, Paul is the Baron's grandson, I believe. Grandson or nephew? I'm blanking off the top of my head, but he's either the Baron's grandson or the Baron's nephew.
Again, lessons learned in terms of like how much of a
I think he's his grandson, because his nephews are the ones that Paul fights in the arena at the end.
For you leave, how much of a contingency you have in place for all that sort of thing. So
maybe 2026 we can watch a Critical Drinker movie in the cinema.
Not in the cinema. That's probably a bit too soon.
I agree with you, Kevy, that the ones his son wrote aren't as good. He's just not as good a writer as his father, but I do think his son at least understood the material, understood the world, and so, like, the lore and everything that adds to it, in my opinion, is just as valid. Again, they're not as technically good, but I still accept them as canon. I still enjoy his son's book.
But maybe one day. Who knows? Who knows, indeed.
Okay, thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, all in all, I think it was a pretty great video. I'll go ahead and I'm not gonna bother dropping the link to this one. I mean, it's a fucking newscast show, right? It's GB News. But yeah, no. All in all, I agree. I'd say about 70% with a lot of the drinkers' criticisms about modern Hollywood. I think that it's sort of small. I think that he doesn't get the scale quite proper as to how deep all this shit goes. But all in all, I liked it. Well done. All right, we got one more video. And we got about 40 minutes. So I'm going to probably talk over this one as opposed to doing a lot of pausing because I got 40 minutes before I got to head out to the family Thanksgiving. But just play the games you already have by Han Solo. I'm not familiar with this creator at all, but it's popped in my recommendations. And I'm very interested in what this could be.
Is failing. There's a lot of bad stuff happening right now, and it's so hard to stay positive and look forward to things when things kind of just feel like it's a big doomsday. Big doomsday. That's the only word I can describe it, you know? I haven't really fully worked on my thoughts on this, but I kind of feel the need to just vent and let it out again. And so many of you really liked my last little vent and rant. There's a lot of bad stuff happening in the gaming industry. I kind of talked about it in my last video, but this
I'm trying to get a beat on what her position is. Like, there's bad stuff going on. There's bad stuff. All right. People on both sides of the aisle say there's bad stuff going on, and they're very different on both sides of the aisle. What's the bad stuff?
This video is a response to numerous comments I received on my last video where I ranted about the state of the gaming industry. These comments kind of went along the lines of, the gaming industry is failing, it's falling apart. Just play the games you already have. Which, yes, I agree. Wholeheartedly, I agree. Play the games.
We got backlogs for years, boys. We don't need to play another single bit of AAA slop. We got backlogs for years. That being said, just like with movies, doesn't mean we don't still want good shit to come out to carry the art form forward.
You already have. Don't just buy games. Don't just support developers who are very clearly just using you to pack their wallets, you know? I do think, obviously, that you should be a conscious consumer and play the games you buy. Your money is important. Your time is your money. You earned that money. Why would you?
No, more than that. Your time is more valuable than money. That's why, like, dude, that's why I didn't watch fucking Peacemaker. That's why I didn't go see, insert whatever slop is at the box office that, you know, like Predator Badlands, for example. Time is more valuable than money. Yeah, I could watch Predator Badlands for 2.5 hours and then do videos on it and talk about it on stream and make money. But why? To me, it is more valuable to not lose that time. The time to drive to the theater, the time to sit in the theater, the time to drive back. Like, no, I could be doing other stuff. I could be streaming. I could be making videos about shit I care about. I could be playing video games. That is all more important.
You just hand it over to some greedy corporation or to some sucky game. You know, that doesn't make any sense, right? And so while, yes, I agree with these comments, something in me just couldn't sit right with it. I didn't like it. Every time I would get a comment that was just like, just play the games that you already have. I'd get a little pissed. I'd get a little mad about it, and just hear me out, okay? I don't want to just settle for never buying a new game ever again.
So far, she's correct. So far, she's 100% correct.
People were like, oh, just never buy a game ever again. The gaming industry's gone. I don't want to settle for that. I don't want to just settle for the idea that the gaming industry is failing. It pains me. It really does. I refuse to believe there's no reason that we shouldn't fight for new games and a better gaming industry. There's no reason why we shouldn't get...
Right, but what would make it better? You're 2.5 minutes in and you haven't said anything. I need you to actually explain your position. What would make the gaming industry better? Where is it failing? How would we improve it? Give us something more. Severus 5555 or a 5-banger says we can't afford new games or to watch football on Thanksgiving. The business practices that are allowed is bullshit along with Super Chat Censor. Yo, shout out. You're right. People can't afford new games. You might be a little late to the party. I don't know if you've been here the whole stream or not. That was the very first topic we covered today. So, yeah, when the stream's over, feel free to go back, watch that. We absolutely talked about the being priced out of the gaming industry nowadays. Shout out. Thank you for the 5-banger, bro.
Together, talk about these things, have discussions about it, and try to make this industry a better place for gamers and for future gamers. There's no reason. So let's talk about it. This was the main point of the video. Hopefully I can get my point across. If you have any opinions, let me know down below in the comment section. I would love to hear it.
Oh, it's YouTube.
But
People
also
got
hear me
opinions.
out, okay? I love the gaming industry. I love gaming. I've been a gamer for many, many years. So if I don't know you, if you don't know me, my name's Hannah. I'm a gamer, longtime gamer, streamer, collector of physical media. It's so nice to meet you. So happy to have you here. Let's have a conversation about why I think we should fight for a better gaming industry and a better world. My first point is that, yeah, retro is good. I'm no hater to the retro community. I think retro gaming is amazing. I have a large collection of PlayStation 2 games, although it pains me to say.
PlayStation 2 isn't retro, guys. People keep using the term retro wrong. It pisses me off. I get so annoyed by this. All right, guys. Imitative of a style, fashion, or design from the recent past. PS2 isn't retro. It's not imitating anything. Retro would be if someone made a video game now to try and imitate that PS2 style, like Pumpkin Jack. Pumpkin Jack would be retro. That's not... Retro doesn't mean old. Now, you could say classic. There's other terms you could use, but people don't use the term retro properly, and it bothers me.
Like retro for PlayStation 2. My DS game collection, those games are like 20 years old now. We're getting old, okay? I'm getting old. I'm like 26. But yeah, I love physical games. I love older games. My DS games are amazing. I love...
No, okay, Black, you are wrong. You are wrong. Again, look up what retro means. This is very simple. Imitative of a style, fashion, or design. If I opened a fashion company and I made bell-bottom jeans to imitate the 70s bell-bottom style, that would be retro. If it is not imitative, it is not retro. People use this term wrong. Retro doesn't mean old. It means it is new, but it imitates old. The video game Flesh Made Fear that I've been streaming is retro. It is imitating the 1994 Resident Evil PS1 style.
Physical media, and I love older consoles, and I absolutely yearn for low poly graphics. There's nothing that I crave more than a low poly burger. It just looks so good. I don't know what it is. Video game food, especially low poly video game food, that's like, it's not the point of the video, but as a side tangent, I need a low poly burger in my life.
You can refer to it as classic. Classic's fine. It's just when people use words wrong, it bothers me, even though I occasionally use them wrong as well.
So charming about retro games and how stories were told with such little means. I think it's so important that we had games that didn't rely on high quality graphics, super...
Fred looking for a 2-banger, 26 is old. To who? A 5-year-old. I'm bloody retro. You're not, you're using it wrong, but I appreciate the 2-banger. Thank you much, brother.
Amazing voice actors, like it kind of adds to the charm, you know? But I also don't think that I would be content with never playing a brand new game again. I don't think I could be content with my life like that. Like, I love retro games, but there's something so special about playing new games when they come out, playing new games with friends when they come out. It's just so special. I feel like this is probably the hottest take, is that like I wouldn't be content with retro games, even though I love them so much. But
I wouldn't say that's a hot take, and the reason is because we as humans, in any craft, we're using gaming here, but really in any craft, we want to see that things we love push forward, make new heights, and more than anything, thrive. And if we have peaked and we never get another game, or we never get another good game or whatnot, there will always be a backlog of great shit, absolutely. But the death of a thriving hobby, culture, medium, community, whatever, is inherently is sad to humans.
There are times when I go to play older games and retro games, and you can tell that they're old, you can tell that they're retro, and at a certain point, the age of these games and these consoles, if you're not emulating them, it starts to show. You can tell that they're old. I play a lot of PS2 games.
That doesn't make it a bad thing, though. Like, the age of certain movies shows that doesn't mean the movie is bad at all.
A PS2, and I can tell that they are 20 years old. It is sometimes really excruciating to go from only playing new games to playing these older games that do feel clunkier, that probably weren't made super well. And granted, I do play a lot of shovelware.
I think she's incredibly wrong here. There are games from the PlayStation 2 that hold up beautifully on the native hardware. Jak and Daxter, Ratchet and Clank, off the top of my head, those both hold up beautifully to this day. In fact, they play better than 90% of most modern jank
Games. Like, I play a lot of those movie licensed games, but they're still kind of bad, you know? They're still 20 years old.
They're not bad because they're old. They're bad because they were shovelware. Oh, this is gonna get me fired up. This is a terrible opinion to take so far.
The amount of times that I've gotten frustrated playing like a game on my DS because it's just like older, and I don't know if that's just because I'm so used to.
Fallout 2 holds up perfectly. Fallout 1 does not. Fallout 1 actually honestly has a lot of flaws. I like Fallout 1, but Fallout 1 has a lot of technical flaws they improved in Fallout 2.
It, or because like it was genuinely really clunky, but it's just hard to go back to only playing retro games, in my opinion. I'm sure I could if I had to, but I'm just making the argument that maybe
you're making a very poor argument, though. The things that you're playing now, you're like, oh, this game is bad, it's showing its age. No, it was bad then. All right, the games that were bad then will be bad now. Yes,
it's okay to still like new games, you know? We should be hyping them up. So will I continue to play retro games? Of course, 100%. I have so many that I want to play. There's so many that I want to buy. I'm a PS2 girly. I want more, okay? My eBay is calling to me. I haven't made a purchase in a while. Will I also secretly hope that Naughty Dog remasters the Jak and Daxter series? Of fucking course. I want that so bad.
And what would they change? Like theoretically, what would they because I actually mentioned Jak and Daxter before she brought it up. So great, good example, great segue. What would Naughty Dog change with the remaster? It upscaled to HD, which they've already done. They've given us a Jak and Daxter remaster. It was on the PS3. The controls for that game are beautiful. The camera for that game is fantastic. Like, what would it actively change? Maybe re-recorded audio, better audio mixing and whatnot for modern day sound systems and better visuals. That's it. The core gameplay hasn't changed. It's completely fine.
Because,
that's a terrible example.
I would play the original Jak 2 on my PS2 to relive that childhood experience, but I also think that I'd have a bad time doing so.
But you're right. If you would have a bad time doing so, then that is on you, because I have recently replayed Jak and Daxter. I did it on stream, actually. It's perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong. And I think Jak and Daxter is one of the PS2 games that holds up the best of the entire library.
Because, like, it would be better if it was remastered. Like, put it on the PS5. I would love a remaster, a remake, something that gives that same feeling, but like the same story, but just smoother, higher graphic.
What do you mean smoother? It ran at 60 FPS on the PS2. If anything, it wouldn't run as well now because games don't run properly. Like, games don't consistently run at 60 FPS nowadays because the industry sucks. Because we are in this position of these games not being optimized on release. A remaster I would guarantee would actively be worse.
You know, it doesn't have to be realistic. It could still be like kind of cheesy looking. Technology's better now. I mean, I don't want to shy away from the fact that technology has gotten better. Graphics have gotten better. Hardware has gotten better. Hell, I like I like the new PlayStation 5 controllers. I like those. Okay? All right. Sorry. I promise these points will get better.
They better.
As we
so
go
far,
along,
your points have
as
been
I just
shit.
continue to yap. I want to play games that run smooth. You know? I don't want to encounter
Then why
bugs.
would you use as an example one of the smoothest running games on native hardware with Jak and Dax on the PS2?
I mean, there are still bugs in new games, and that's why games often get delayed because they're riddled with issues. But I want to play new games that feel good, that feel new. My second point ties us in to the retro game thing. Games are getting old, okay, and they're getting unplayable. Whether or not it's because of the physical hardware or not, but eventually physical media deteriorates. DVDs.
Okay, she's correct here. This is a good point to make.
And CDs, VHS tapes, they all deteriorate because it's not a permanent thing. Like, one day you'll put your DVD in and it won't work. I mean, granted, I was younger, but I ruined a lot of discs. I ruined a lot of discs growing up, so who knows how many Xbox games I can't play anymore because they're just trashed.
Well, to be fair, even if that weren't the case, even if you kept them in pristine condition, disc rot is a thing. Eventually, even the most perfectly preserved disc will eventually suffer disc rot, and it will not be playable. That is a fair point to make.
And then I can't play it. So like all of these retro games that I'm like, oh, well, I'll just play these for the rest of my life. They probably won't exist for another 100 years. Who knows? Who knows how long they have? And that's just the discs. That's to say that you still might need to repair your physical consoles. You still might need to get a new controller. The wires might go. I'm very lucky that when my Game Boy was the screen was looking bad, I was able to go get it replaced. But one day there might not be.
Emulating is not the answer, though. Now, I'm not saying I'm anti-emulation. I'm very pro-emulation, right? I think emulation is fantastic. However, when you emulate, you don't have physical access, and physical access is incredibly important.
Anybody who's willing to do that kind of repair, what happens when a game is bugged and there's no one on that development team who's gonna put a patch through? It's gonna die. What happens when it's a online game and the server shut down, but you put money and time into it and you decide that's the game you're gonna play? You're not gonna buy new games from the gaming industry. You're just gonna play the games you have. But what if that game shuts down one day? Servers are offline, you can't play it. That would freaking suck. Like, not that that's great, not that I want that to happen, and I hate when that happens, but it could happen. And I feel like that's just another example why we should be continuing to invest in the gaming industry, because one day the things that we like now, you won't be able to play them most likely. This also happens with new games. So I think part of the reason why I feel so strongly about kind of having an argument, and not that this is really an argument, but it's more of just a vent, because I see both sides. I can see why somebody would want to only play games they already have. But I also think it's important to invest our time into something that we care about. So this is partially an argument for games that I hope to see updated, remastered, remade, because I mean, heck, can you remaster the old Animal Crossing games? Like, that would be so fun. That would be so cool because there was something so charming about them. Was it the graphics? Was it the time period? Who knows? But I feel like these stories were relevant for the time and I would love to see them remade, because I'm currently playing Animal Crossing on my DS, and let me just tell you, it's a doozy. It's a doozy. I'm not used to it. I'm used to Animal Crossing New Horizons. There's a huge difference just in the general play style of the two, and it's hard for me to get adjusted to it. I'm having
that skill issue. That's a you problem. I do not. That's an unjustifiable argument. Oh, it's hard for me to adjust. Well, then play something else. Sorry, if you are to remaster these games and whatnot, yeah, sure, throw in some quality of life shit, autosave or whatever, upscale the graphics, re-record the upscale the audio or whatever it may be. But we want to play these classic games as they were for a reason. If you are trying to make the argument for video game preservation, which she has just tried to make in terms of like the disc rot and the games failing and whatnot, then it needs to be preserved in its original form.
Difficult time playing Animal Crossing. It's a skill issue, I think. So this is also an argument to say that if a game I own gets shut down, or God forbid, removed from my account, or my account gets shut down, I'd hope that I would just be able to find a new game to play. Like, I don't want that to just ruin gaming for me. I'd want to find a new game. A game that I maybe don't already own. Point 3, my dream game probably doesn't exist yet. I have so many games that I love, like 10 out of 10 games. Maybe they have some issues. Maybe they're a little quirky.
Then they're not 10 out of 10, but okay.
A little cringy, but I love them. They're my favorite games. I'm sure everybody has a list of games that they absolutely adore, but is your perfect ideal game out there? Like one that checks every...
Yes, Sonic Adventure. And even that's not a 10 out of 10 game. Maybe on my personal list, it's my favorite game of all time. No, that game got a lot of fucking problems. But yeah, the most perfect game is out there. That game came out in 1998, 1999 here in the States. I've never played another game in my life I love more than it.
Single box. There's probably one or two, right? But I don't think personally that my dream game exists yet. A story that feels like it was made for me with graphics that tickle my brain. I don't think it exists yet. And I hold on to the hope that one day there could be a game that does that for me. Like a game that truly changes my life. And it feels so weird to say that at 26, but I feel like there's no age restraint with this. Like you could be 30 and you could still be waiting for your dream game. And at 35, a game that was made, that feels like it was made for you, just appears and it's groundbreaking. You never know. And to say that, like, oh, just play the games I already have. Fuck the gaming industry. It's in shambles. The games now are shit. I feel like just gives me too much doubt and I can't get on board with it. I'm so sorry. I hope.
Then propose a solution, because everything you've said so far has been trite gobbledygook.
That the gaming industry gets better. I genuinely have love and hope and respect in my heart that one day the gaming industry will be thriving and well. That there will be like genuine love in the community for the games that come out and that exist. And that one day my perfect game will exist. It'll have amazing character customization. It'll have beautiful instrumental music. Maybe I think has to have romance for my ideal game. Some kind of swimming mechanic, because for some reason I love swimming in video games. And just like, I want to explore the world. I want to build things. Obviously, I'm not the one making the game, so I don't have a specific kind of like story in mind. It probably has to make me cry. But you get what I mean. Like, I have a list of things in my...
This is why women should not be in the gaming industry. Like, they shouldn't be in charge of making games or whatnot, because everything she has said was absolute emotion-based. There was no technical aspect to almost any of it. Like, that was such a... And by all means, you can have those things as preferences you like in a game. That's fine. But you have offered nothing in terms of how those things or the things that you want or whatnot would actually fix the industry you're saying is in a bad spot. This is just emotional, stream of consciousness, lack of argumentation.
Head that I will enjoy about a game, and I want a game that checks these boxes. I want a game that has me written all over it, you know? So I'm gonna continue to talk and make meaningful conversation about the state of the gaming industry.
Meaningful conversation. We are 13 minutes in. You've said nothing meaningful yet.
Because one day, I believe I'll be able to play a game that changes my life. I think storytelling is one of the most important facets of humanity. The ability to pass down a story, to tell a perspective of something that happens, and to put yourself in those shoes. I think that skill and that feeling is just, there's nothing like it in my opinion. In song, in book, TV, movie, and in video game, storytelling is just such a beautiful human expression. And
games don't need storytelling to be beautiful human expression or whatnot. Don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with story-driven games. I love story-driven games. I'm a big fan of story-driven games. But tell me, what's the deep intrinsic story for Super Mario Bros? You know, one of the most revered, classic, loved games of all time. Games are a storytelling medium, but they're not inherently a storytelling medium. They don't have to be, because they are also, first and foremost, an interactive medium. No different than when you play chess. What's the story to playing chess? You don't need a story. You're there for the interactivity.
Hold that so close to me that one day there's going to be a story that deeply impacts me, and that's going to change my life. And I'm just going to continue to hope that. This is a Hope Core video. That was a rant video you saw. This is my Hope Core video, so you're welcome. Only good vibes in this video, please, and thank you. Yeah, because it also took me a long time to make this video. I kind of deliberated on for a little while, but I think it's important.
You should deliberate longer, because so far your arguments are shit.
To talk about it and talk about it now, because it felt like when I posted that rant video, immediately there was like Xbox price increases, and now there's like, and now GTA is delayed again. It's just one thing after another. So
Yes,
this is me
positivity,
putting out
exactly.
into the universe that I'm hopeful. I have love in my heart. I hope things get better and change. New stories are important, and perspectives are important.
Yeah, news stories are important. Yeah, they've given us the same, tired story for the last fucking 15 years. And that's why people are turning away from modern AAA games. Again, I need you to say something as substance. Something of
And
substance.
putting yourself in someone else's shoes is so important, and that's why video games are amazing.
I'm done. I can't do it, guys. I tried my best. I can't do it. This has been... Maybe I'll watch the rest of it on my own time. But, man, I gotta get out of here in 15 minutes anyway. This is only like the second or third time in the history of streaming I've given up on a video midway through. And this is only the second or third time that I've ever given up on a video halfway through. She is saying nothing. She was saying absolutely nothing. I linked the video in the chat for you guys because that's at least still the right thing to do another content creator. Link in the chat. You feel free to watch it, pick up from where we left off, give your honest thoughts. But this was painful. This was absolutely painful. So yeah, we out in like 4 circles. I'm getting out of here. I got some Thanksgiving shit to go do. Hopefully you all have a wonderful Thanksgiving as well. I will see you all in the damn near future for all the other various streams. Leon, real question. Would you? Oh yeah, absolutely would. Absolutely would. For sure. Redhead, pretty smile. Brought up Jack and Daxter. Absolutely would. But that's neither here nor there. So, alright guys. We out. Let's see if anyone's streaming. I'd like to go ahead and at least, share the love with somebody else on this beautiful holiday, even if, I'm getting out of here. So let's see if anybody else is live. Let's see. Sitevax. Yeah, you know what? We'll raid Sitevax. I don't think I've ever raided Sitevax. He's a good dude. I haven't talked to him in ages. He's a good dude. Alright. Guys, thank you so much for the donos. Truly appreciate you. I'll see you tomorrow for Neon Leon. Maybe we'll do a gaming stream tonight on the second channel. I'm not sure. I do have a video coming out later today on the second channel, so be sure to check that out. Make sure to check out all the rest of the Cabal, the Bigot Army, everybody else. And again, remember what today is for. It's not just the eat food holiday. Give thanks. We've all got shit to be thankful for. I'm incredibly thankful for you guys. I truly appreciate everything that you've done, that you've been here, that you've helped me with. We do care about diversity of thoughts. And yeah, just like that, we had like 4 circles. Deuces.